Yay, we're being recorded.
Yeah. Where's the? Yes,
Why?
the new thing.
Turn the video on. So we are being recorded. We are not being recorded live. Well, let me rephrase that. We aren't being sent out to YouTube live.
Live stream.
So
Nope.
nope.
Oh, geez, my hair.
And that comes out and then I close that. What he said so. Yeah, cool. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, but that chair is like this, so it's
You just keep it here for moral support.
it should
or-
be thrown out, but we
like
keep it
what
here
you-
and
Yeah,
we like what you
Thank you for not making me one of those.
It's a rite of passage.
Yeah.
It should have been. That would have been good, y'all. Couldn't have blamed you.
By the way, does anybody want any magnets?
Oh yeah.
We have hundreds of them.
I would love like two.
Sure.
For fungi and flies. Could distribute them.
I have plenty.
Okay.
I just put 50 at the library.
All right.
Already there?
Yeah.
Okay, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Can I have a couple?
Sure.
Thank you.
Yes.
Just got snowed out.
Yeah.
It's the 20th now, right?
Yeah. So it is now 7 o'clock officially, so we have a quorum, over a quorum, thankfully. So I'll call the meeting of the Coventry Land Trust order at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, February 11th. Just so you two know, we normally meet at 6:30, but backed it up because of the town council meeting. So evacuation instructions, please.
Evacuation instructions are out that door and then right outside.
And I'm thinking before we get into everything else, should introduce ourselves. I know you two kind of did your thing a little bit, but for the record, and also so you get to know us.
Okay.
look at you.
I'm Linda Brennan. And I'm an author in my regular life, and I've written a lot of nonfiction for kids on nature and science and stuff, but also a wide variety of other things. So that's me. But I have two daughters who are environmental scientists, so I have an interest in it. No degree, but an interest.
I think we'll go and then you.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. Also, at any point, you guys have any questions, stop us. We'll figure this out kind of just by sitting here and asking questions and doing.
So I'm Josh Chase. I am the planning technician. I am your staff person. Yeah.
I'm Rory, it says Rosemary, I'm really Rory Carmody. I'm a rehabilitation counselor. I work primarily with folks with developmental disabilities and more on the spectrum. I also chair the Governor's Commission on Disabilities for the state of Rhode Island, so my passion is about inclusion, DEI, everything DEI, actually. And the trails have proven to be a great opportunity for people of all different abilities to seek Coventry. We have some wonderful drone footage, I hope you've seen it, of some of our trails. And the person who does it does the drone footage from his wheelchair. He has muscular dystrophy, and it just shows how, with the right tools and the right conditions, anyone can participate and enjoy the great outdoors. So that's my passion. And my daughter's best friend is going to be studying as a veterinarian at Ocean State soon, Cindy Cardoza.
Oh, love her. Yeah, great.
She the best?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's Taylor's best friend along with the guy. They all went to
Yeah,
school
Sydney
together.
lives behind Lynn's house.
Yeah.
They
yeah.
would always get off the bus
Yeah,
together.
so
to get-
she's gonna be the vet at Ocean State.
Oh, boy.
But my daughter, her neighbor, went to high school together, and they're like three thick as these little musketeers.
Intern.
Yeah, she's been doing interviews like every hour of every day
Oh,
for
yeah.
months
They
now.
gave Sydney
so-
an early appointment.
Cindy, yeah, Sydney's wonderful. We call her Dr. Sydney.
Yeah, I'm Lynn Falsey, let's see, land trust for 5 years now, I guess.
Vice Chair.
That long?
Maybe not. Maybe
Wow.
3. Oh,
Time goes by so
yeah.
fast.
Yeah.
Well, I've been on for 2.5, so
Okay. Well, it doesn't really matter. Been here a while. Let's see, I have a bachelor's degree in biology and a master's degree in marine affairs. I worked for 10 years with the Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management as an environmental scientist. And then I went to Brown University to teach geographic information systems and helped research staff there with using GIS in their research. I am now retired from there and do freelance work in GIS consulting, help nonprofits. And I love being on the land trust and going out hiking trails and working on those and doing trail maps. And, I have 3 rescue dogs.
Vice Chair.
Oh. Minor detail.
Big kid.
Vice chair and sort of somehow accidentally as treasurer as well. So, if anybody wants to be treasurer, I'm not a math person, so
Oh,
not that
okay.
we have a huge budget, so I can cope right now.
It's just a couple of minutes.
So you two know me a little bit, but I've done a lot since high school. So my bachelor's is in wildlife biology, my master's is in fish biology. During the day I work in fisheries. I'm certified as an associate wildlife biologist by the Wildlife Society, which is an international certification. And I focus a lot on actually a lot of things here. A lot of wildlife conservation, habitat conservation. We'll be talking about deer hunting with Deanne later on, but also just admin, outreach. So you taking on outreach would be wonderful. Yeah, and I'm a writer on the side too. That hasn't changed, nor has the sailing, still the same. And I'm the chair.
Great. Oh, sorry. Well, you guys heard. Justine Johnson. Veterinarian. And yeah, I do enjoy. I realized a lot of the properties peripheral to Coventry is where I spend a lot of time, but it'd be nice if there was more properties in Coventry, but I do enjoy some of them for sure. So interested in helping to protect and expand.
I'm just gonna have to write things that I'm thinking about, but anyway, I'm Elsa. That's my mom. Yeah, and Jenna and I went to the same school for a while, so same with your daughter slash your daughter's best friend, maybe. Yeah, you guys heard my gist, but looking to, I mean, I'm doing some good with my current job at Save the Bay, but it's really specifically education, which is great. But it's kind of based on that whole, we got to get the kids to care so that they do something in the future. And it's like, we can't wait 20 years for that to happen. So I'm just have been looking for ways to like actually do something action oriented on top of the like education focused stuff that I do for work. And yeah, and while I'm here in the area and you know so graciously living at home, I figured I might as well. It's I make a living wage and nothing else.
Yeah, me too. Oh, she said it.
But anyway, yeah, so while I'm in the air, I figured I might as well use the fact that I'm around to actually like do something positive for the place that I'm in. So
We're really excited to have you. It'll be
Yes, we
awesome.
are. Yay.
Yeah.
And point out one other thing that Jenna forgot to mention. She's on awesome.
Oh.
Ooh,
Oh.
yes.
Yeah.
proof where it didn't happen, proof where it didn't happen.
I was busy.
Just saying.
All right, back to normal business, so, any questions on the minutes attached, or any things we should change? No, they're kind of short. Let me see the packet.
So you guys do not have them because you weren't here.
Yeah.
So
You wouldn't be able to vote anyways
Yeah.
on this. On page 1, in the, I guess the biggest paragraph, it says Carol Dove stated she still had to fill out a USDA for partnerships. That should be USDA application. Any errors or things we should change before I hear a motion to approve them? I can't make the motion.
Okay, so ready for a motion. I'll make a, this is Lynn. I'll make a motion to approve minutes for December 17th.
And this is Linda and she seconds it.
All in favor?
Aye.
And 2 of our newest members will not be voting because they were not here for these minutes. All right. So on to ongoing business, for outreach avenues to encourage organized volunteers. Also, I would like you to talk about your plans, which are really great. You can do that now or at the end of everyone else sharing, if we have anything to share. Or just jump in whenever you want to.
For outreach stuff. Yeah, I'm just gonna pull up. I should have printed more. But yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, I think that they're like a really not necessarily easy, but easier way to get more people involved in this kind of work is to do it through existing groups, like existing clubs and organizations, so that you don't necessarily have to do the work of, you know, getting a bunch of individual people to sign up for something, but instead creating some sort of connection with an existing community group or organization. So I think a big one is schools, especially when it comes to volunteering. I don't know what this looks like for Coventry schools and schools in the area, but I do know in the past, like there were community service requirements as a student. You had to do certain number of community service hours within your time, within each year, something like that. And then also, I mean, high schoolers especially are always looking for volunteer community service stuff to put on college applications and resumes and things like that. So I think as far as encouraging and organizing people to do that, I think reaching out to specific schools is really useful. And otherwise, again, this is something that I need to look more into, but just driving around the area, like there are a lot of like somewhat specific clubs and organizations that like have their own buildings that I just see like signs for. It'll be like a very specific like veterans organization or specific like nationality has their own organization. There's like random buildings that like pop up for that around the area. So that's the other kind of thing that I think would be easier than just trying to get a bunch of individuals is maybe reaching out to some places like that to involve them in a project. But yeah, before any of that can happen, there needs to be obviously like a thing that you want people to do if they're volunteering. So yeah, like I had a couple ideas of what that could look like. I'm sure that you guys have done stuff in the past and have more possible or plausible ideas. But like again, coming from Save the Bay, the classic thing is the like cleanups, things like that. That I mean, they obviously do like beach cleanups, but there's trash everywhere. So that's an easy one and one that people tend to just be able to pick up. You don't really have to do any sort of training for that kind of thing. Otherwise, I think getting people involved in outreach, like volunteering to, you know, even just like go somewhere and talk to other classes about it, or involve students in sharing, you know, even like you know, spreading things within schools without, you know, us having to be the ones to do it tends to be, I think, pretty powerful when it's coming from like a peer as opposed to kind of a distant figure. Like I was just looking through this, like this whole name, the mascot idea, I think is great. Like I think that's a perfect idea, just even to make people aware that this group exists. But yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. The last one would just, I guess, be social media, which is really big. Both for, you know, volunteers, like getting people involved, but just in general for getting people to be aware of us and what we do and getting people to care. And, you know, bring us ideas or bring us thoughts about land that, you know, could be like those conservation easements or something like that. People need to know that those are possible, and a big way that is done is social media. So those are my thoughts, but
Okay.
We had some success with this. Did you go to Coventry High School?
no.
There was a teacher there, Dr. Pothier Robin, who did the Envirothon Club, and when she was there, we would get students who would come and they would volunteer with us. Then she retired, and then it kind of like went away, and then nobody picked it up after that, so we haven't had much luck getting back into the high school.
What did that look like? Like when you say volunteer with us, like what would they do?
It would be for land trust days or to clear a trail or something like that, and then the team would come, the Envirothon team would come and they would do that, and they would write about it, just to your point. Weston, one of the guys who came to volunteer, we wrote letters for his college application and things like that, so we tried to build off of that. My niece was head of Envirothon at the time, so she made them come, but just after it went away, you know, and no one's doing it anymore, unfortunately. So we lost kind of that contact.
But that's like a great example, I think, of, especially if there are historical connections. That's way easier. Like it's easier to pick something up than it is to create something from nowhere. So even you said the teacher isn't there anymore that does it.
And no one picked up because Lynn teaches at Coventry High School.
Yeah.
But she said no one picked it up. You could try these people. I tried a couple of different people and no one ever responded. So just they had to move on. We had to look for other opportunities, and so we thought of the mascot thing and reaching out to some of the younger kids and maybe building up with that.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Guidance counselors might be a good
Yeah.
choice because they know what the kids' interests are and they're closer to, you know, advising kids on preparing their college applications and all of that.
Even as an alternative to detention or, you know, any type of in-house suspension, let us know, we can figure out something.
Probably someone has to supervise them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
But guidance counselors would be great, because that way kids can learn, is this a profession, or, and you know, is it a profession they want to pursue, in what aspect of it, if they're interested in that, because those are growing.
Yeah, so generally what we've got a couple of dates that we really look for help, and one is our, you know, land trust days. We usually have an event then that we can, and then we have trail cleanups on you know, Earth Day, you know. So those are two events that we usually host that we're always looking for people, but we also have like trail cleanups in the middle, you know, other
Which
times
we
too.
badly need in Bowdoin.
Yeah.
It's very bad. Okay. Or just if they want to do wildlife research, there's a lot of wildlife research that is that you don't need a permit or training for. So like birding, getting point counts of birds, you go out with Merlin app on your phone and you go, I saw these 50 birds, and that's information we didn't have.
eBird, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing. I think obviously like the Earth Day thing is super important, but I think one of the benefits of volunteer activities like citizen science stuff or like trail cleanup stuff that you don't necessarily need advanced any sort of like real training to do.
Right.
The benefit of that is it doesn't need to be like a thing that you or we would organize. It's more just like a, here is a thing that you can do. And if you're gonna go out on the trail already, might as well do this. Or you know, that also maybe helps people, like helps us with knowing what the state of different trails and stuff is. If people are aware that they can like let us know what things are looking like.
Yeah. I know that Stella Hall has, was it Stella? No, it's Whipple, has a lot of eBird lists already.
Yeah,
For some reason more than the other.
none of the others really don't.
No.
They don't even have a hotspot on eBird.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think Whipple just has, because it has a lot of like marshy area. It's got some like shorebirds
Right.
and stuff that lives in that kind of like moist habitat. Like year round, as opposed to other places that, like, because they're generally larger, birds are flying around a bit more and
Right.
it's more seasonal stuff, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other
That's
thing,
one of the things about like doing adopt trail, so
yeah.
a group of persons could feel invested in that, and then geocaching,
Mhm.
something to attract more and more people.
There- yeah.
Right.
Because there's one at Sullivan already,
Sullivan
right at
already has
the
one, yeah.
trailhead, yeah. Oh, and someone put up a little plastic mushroom
The
in
mushroom,
Bowden.
yeah.
Actually, Marina found it, Marina Kvecker.
Oh, is that
Yeah.
right?
Of course she did. Of
Yeah.
course she did.
Do you guys know who's doing the trail improvements? There's been a bunch of work up at the Lawton Farm in, it's like the Hope
question.
Situate area, but also in Hope is this North Doctors Road has a
Yeah.
trail area, and they've put up kind of trailhead signs that something's coming there, but at Lawton, they've put some bridges and things to get over
Hmm.
some of the wet areas, which Bowden could
Yeah.
use in a
Yes.
few spot
Definitely, yeah.
for sure. I just don't know who's doing that, if that's the state or who's
I think
funding
it is, because remember, because there's those I don't even know what to call them. They're kind of like the lawn signs,
Mhm.
but they're like white lawn signs, and I think they're the DEM logo, right? They have like it says like something, it's like a 6 point whatever,
Yeah, so
whatever.
do
That's
you
the
work in
permit.
conjunction
Yeah,
with
exactly, like it's a
DEM
permit,
for
a DEM
Yeah.
permit.
projects?
We have,
Oh, yeah.
actually, I'm about to call the deer biologist in a bit, so we can chat hunting. But that, so we have looked at the bridge construction. We need a permit to go over a wetland or through a wetland, any sort of wetland adjacent. That's what those numbers are.
Mhm.
It's probably the Situate Land Trust putting that in.
Mhm.
I think, yeah,
that's
that
their
sounds about
land.
right.
But we have had a relationship in the past with the AMC, the Appalachian Mountain Club, which put together a bridge proposal, I think it was. This was before any of us were on it, for parts of Bowden.
So we're looking into that. We're
Yeah.
also thinking, Eagle Scout project
Yeah.
or something like
Yeah,
that.
I just read
But
that,
we
like,
haven't
William
really
Grassett was the one.
been able to make contact with any troops, in town. The other thing we had originally, one of the things that with the new ordinance establishing us is that the Department of Parks and Rec is supposed to be part of us, right?
Yep.
Have a representative. And
Oh,
they're
yeah.
the ones who built all the boardwalks at Sandy Bottom. And I was thinking, well, would they take on the project of building those bridges for us? Because it's more than we can really handle ourselves. So,
So threw around the idea at one point of looking at New England Tech. Because typically, they might have a course, and I haven't pursued this at all, but they might have a course where they draw engineering drawings. So CAD people would draw engineering drawings for the bridges that we need to have done, or they might have construction classes where people actually build the boardwalks. So they do the design work and the construction work as part of class project.
RISD. Have you guys talked or reached out to RISD at all? Now that you mentioned that, RISD has that, and does it quite frequently. They, years ago, up on the Blackstone River, right where like their little like the Blackstone River Group's like little building is right near there. A RISD project, like a class project was like limiting erosion along the river by they planted or like bought the specific I think it was maybe like cedar vines, or it was some specific like very strong and easy growing type of plant, and they like had all these long sticks and vines, and they wove a fence like up against this soil, and then the point of it is that it like grows itself, like it will continue to grow because it's alive, and it grows into the dirt and holds it together, and it's like been years and it's still up there. Multiple of my roommates from last year, I guess, yeah, last year at Brown were RISD architecture students, and they do a lot of like public health, environment, like public housing stuff.
Yeah.
I would be very surprised if it was difficult to find someone at RISD that would want to do something like this. Probably architecture. They have a really big architecture program, and they're always like, they do a lot of classes that involve like physically building something as a group. And they do a lot of like engaged stuff. Similarly, I don't know, are you guys familiar with Lucy Spellman at all? Is that name familiar?
Yeah. it is
So,
familiar.
she is an exotics vet at Ocean State, but she is also just like generally really cool. But her other thing is she is a part-time professor at RISD, but she is an exotics vet, wildlife biologist, etc. She started the organization that my bag is from. It's called Creature Conserve. Also thought of it when you mentioned your background, because it's an organization that brings like artists and writers and then scientists together to do like making science accessible. So it might be interesting for your work.
Okay.
But anyway, point is she teaches a biology of human animal interactions class there that I took, as well as like doing trips with RISD students and working with different kind of groups within RISD. So she's already involved in environmental work in the area and like globally, honestly, and also has that connection to RISD. So that could be really useful. But yeah, RISD is always doing like community involved, engaged science stuff, and the architecture group specifically. Yeah, I'd be surprised if it was difficult to find people that would want to do something like that
Okay,
there.
that would be terrific.
Yes, I'll help you.
Yes, I know.
Do you want to reach out to them and
sure.
get their thoughts?
Mhm.
Thank you. That'd be awesome.
So we'd be talking specifically about like boardwalks or bridges in the Bowdoin area.
Yeah.
Also, your thought on the erosion stuff made me think of.
Yeah.
The Sullivan's property.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Bramble Road entrance has a terrible erosion problem.
Yeah.
And we were gonna talk about trying to get an Audubon Society that does the work.
Yeah, I got a link to an application, but that would cost us like $600. We have to have matching funds for that, and I don't know that we have those matching funds.
Anyway, we're gonna reach out to this crew that does stuff through Audubon Society and see if they could help us
Yeah.
bolster that area, but it's just another place where we need help with trail maintenance.
Yes.
It's a very steep slope and it's gravel and it just washes away.
Yeah,
And the dirt bikes love it.
And
yeah,
we
and
need rail ties or something to go across. to
Right.
Step it up.
Mhm. And signs saying no dirt bikes.
Mm.
Please to, enforce that.
And so we need engineers to draw the plans up and we need people to build it.
yeah. That's why I was hoping that the Department of Parks and Recs would also
Yeah.
be here, because they have some of their expertise and some of that, equipment and manpower that we don't have.
Individual plans too, but we have to have some things specific, I think.
Mhm.
Have you all already done sort of a census of what needs to be done in the spaces? Like, do you know how many bridges or boardwalks or anything like that?
Mm.
We haven't done any kind of census.
Yeah,
Those are the ones that the boardwalks at Bowdoin. Problem at Sullivan's.
yeah, so those are the
That's
two
yours.
things. How many boardwalks do we need at Bowdoin?
Depends on I mean, we could put in a bunch, honestly, because that whole rock field can be a disaster,
Okay.
but. Yeah.
It's just
a few.
across water. I can think of 3 off the top of my head.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so maybe what we should do is make an effort to make to do an audit of Bowden, where we need and what we need, where we
Yeah.
need bridges and what and that kind of thing. And then with that in hand, we can approach somebody about seeing if they could do that. And then also the Sullivan property, the erosion issue.
Yeah,
That
because
one's
that's bad.
ready to go immediately. Go out there right now and see what the problem is.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm gonna use the summer project.
Yeah, and we're right at the time where people are starting to think about that. And
Right.
Bowden had a bunch of trees come down in the last windstorm. And I'm sure more came down this weekend because of all the, there's so many dead trees from spongy moth. Now is about the time, and this is happening across the state, that they're just going bleh.
Yeah.
And they're over the trails. So the ones off the trails we leave, the ones over, need a chainsaw.
Mhm.
Who had the chainsaw?
Glenn,
Who's in Florida.
yes. So our old director had a chainsaw and used to do some of this
I'm
stuff.
not able to carry it in and move it, carry it out again.
Yeah,
With all his fingers in the.
Well, it's gonna be
Yeah,
yeah.
we'll use your tiny chainsaw.
I don't want to tackle the big.
Yeah.
We'll get there after an hour.
And Glenn also had other equipment because he owns the cranberry bog in Western Coventry, his
There's a
family.
cranberry bog. in
You have a
Western
cranberry
Oh,
bog?
yeah.
Yes,
Oh, I think I know where it is. I
There's a
just didn't
major
know that's what it
fire
was.
Where?
Is it near the Christmas tree place?
it's way out in Western
Yeah.
Coventry. This-
The other
Can
side
actually
of
pull it up.
Yeah,
Near, I think it's near that big John.
Plus one
Oh, where I just got ours.
Go that way.
Mhm.
So-
Where 117 crosses one
Yeah.
two, go down one.
Well, there's green.
To the back. And it's.
Huh.
Pull it up, yeah.
102 and 117 is here.
Yep, keep going out that way.
Keep going, that road that Josh is traveling right now, that's dirt, all up Perry Hill Road, that's all dirt.
Yeah.
coming down.
That's the, okay, so we-
If we switch to satellite, we'll see it right away. Oh, spring, perfect.
Which pond is the
Here it
bog?
is.
There it is.
Oh, that, wow, look
Yeah.
at that.
Oh, it's substantial.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Yes.
One of
Wow.
the biggest ones in the Northeast. yeah.
Ocean spring.
Ocean Spray, yeah.
Seriously?
Oh.
I had no idea.
Yep.
Where are all the wind?
Things are
Is that where
connecting. Things are-
The wind turbines are scattered.
Up that way and then out.
Yeah.
West
Okay,
Greenwich way,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, they're
so I had the vague idea, but not
Right,
where I
yeah.
was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just out of curiosity, I was looking into the Bird Walk and Bridges project at Lawton Farm.
mhm.
And yeah, it was through like Situate Land Trust, but they were working with the Youth Conservation League as a summer project to do that. It, yeah, exactly. It provides meaningful summer employment for high school age youth and job experience for those interested in careers in
that's
landscaping
through
and environmental
Audible,
management.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we have to match. So in other words, in order to have them come, we have to pay half their salary. So
Which we can do
we can do,
if we piecemeal it. Our operating budget every year is $4,000.
So where does that come from?
Taxes, and then we have, well, that's an allocation of the town. And then we have what is it called? A land transference tax that feeds into a pot of money for us to purchase land. That has 2 million in it. That we cannot release without authorization of the town council.
So there's no fundraising or additional funds that can be,
we just
Yeah.
went through the thing to try and decide whether we could fundraise.
And we can.
And now we've just found out with the ordinance and everything else that indeed we can. But we
Oh,
have
that's
not
great.
been doing that
Mm, yeah.
because we weren't sure that that was something that we could possibly do.
You've come on at a critical time,
Yeah,
as in when Council President Lino said they didn't legally exist. We kind of did, kind of didn't. We didn't have as much autonomy, so we're basically building ourselves kind of anew and trying to grow ourselves and grow our reach and our impact.
Yeah.
And this was our first meeting
As a,
Land trust, yeah.
yes.
Yeah, fundraising would be huge, and also very much benefited by like us. Like larger social media presence, yeah,
Are y'all gonna talk about this, the Youth Conservation League thing
Okay.
at some point?
So, yeah, so
Only
the,
because it seems like if they did this other stuff last summer, like
Yeah.
if they'd be
Yeah.
willing to do this summer, and there's the possibility of fundraising to get a project and be able to support that.
well, I
Well,
also wonder
I-
about like a grant for the
so,
funding.
yeah, so that would come through the Audubon Society
Hmm.
of Rhode Island. There's a link to fill out a form to apply for it. So I've got the link and, I've made the contact with Laura Carberry at Audubon. But in order to move forward, I have to know that we have the funding to,
In the permitting.
in the permitting, yeah.
That will take some time because that's gonna come from the Office of Water Resources. And they're the same people through which I submitted the lake management plan. I'm still waiting to hear on meetings about that, which they said would take place sometime this winter.
Okay.
And that was back in August, they told me that. So,
We could proceed with the Sullivan project.
Yeah.
Doesn't require any.
Mhm.
permit.
Yeah,
There's
that's true.
There's nothing, but.
I feel like there has to be like some sort of either, especially if it's to provide like high school kids with stuff. And then further than that, especially if it's to provide like underprivileged students, that kind of opportunity. I'm sure that there are grants that we could apply for to give that additional funding. Both through that like loop or that kind of we're providing experiences for kids that wouldn't get this kind of outdoor experience, or / additionally from we are bettering or supporting, especially for like the Sullivan project, like we are helping like protect, preserve one of the like projects, one of the nature areas in the town. I'm like, whether it's through DEM or like, I'm trying to think of other possible organizations that have funding to give out, and of course all of this is now up in the air with federal funding issues right now, but I feel like there's got to be like grants, especially because how much did you say it would
I
cost to
think it
match
was
it?
like, I want to say $600. Okay.
and it's,
Deadline. Bye.
I don't think we did, but I'll look. Part of the problem is we lost 3 members. We haven't been able to have a quorum, so we haven't been able to hold a meeting until we had a quorum, and so time has passed.
really missed last month.
And
Yeah.
that's true.
The good thing about spending $600 is this money is use it or lose it. So if we're looking for somewhere to spend money, then that would be good because fiscal year is gonna close at the end of June,
Okay.
which I know is a few months away, but still.
So do you want me to go ahead and download that form and fill it out and send it in? Do I have your permission to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't lock, like it wouldn't lock us into doing it.
No, it's just applying.
Motion.
Yeah.
Wouldn't hurt.
Yep.
This is Lynn. I'll make a motion for Linda to download and fill out the application for the Audubon Society Conservation Crew.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes to apply for the Audubon Society's Youth Conservation League for some trail restoration, possibly bridge building work for this upcoming summer. Yay.
Yeah, there are like green space grant programs that DEM has. that fund land conservation, recreational land acquisition and development, and recreational trail development and improvements. Each of these programs under blah, 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 set of rules, blah, blah, blah. And it says that they do require like a local matching contribution, but that could still potentially like cut what we'd have to spend significantly.
Pretty sure that's how Situate got a lot of money to do that. Do other boardwalk building as well.
We could use it for Sullivan, building the trail system in there, or off the road. Which I have some notes on.
I can reach out to Situate Land Trust, somebody on there and see like who designed their works and all that, who did their work.
Mhm.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now, we have an opportunity to kind of reach out to the public because of the flies and fungi program we're having at the library, which apparently she said they had quite a few people sign up for,
Yeah,
and which got snowed out, but they're rescheduling it, right?
yeah, so we rescheduled it to next Thursday, same time and place, at council chambers, 6 to 7:15 PM. Rory's going in my stead, because I'll be in Puerto Rico.
Such a day.
Wait, so it's not
yeah.
the 20th?
It is the
Oh,
20th,
okay,
yeah.
it was the
Okay,
6th.
gotcha.
Yeah, it was last Thursday, and then the weather turned poopy.
Gotcha.
But yeah, people are really clamoring for it, which is great, because we are hoping to capitalize on just people being nerds about nature, but also it's that time when cabin fever sets in, which I'm certainly feeling. You're not eating any mushrooms. But yeah, there's been a little bit of local advertising, so it's gone to meet up through the Rhode Island Land Trust Council. It's on our Facebook and Instagram. No, just our Facebook. Rick and you or I have advertised it. It's at Dave's. And I'm not sure where else it is.
Okay, so at that meeting, is there anything we want to have available to say, hey, here we are, we don't, if you really want to get involved, we'd love volunteers.
Could have a flyer just saying that, we're looking for volunteers, and I'd say give a few categories of Yeah. trail maintenance, blazing research. If someone wants to look into the history of our
Mhm.
properties, pick up where Cameron left off.
Even I think, unless this exists already, but if it does, then just advertising it. If there aren't like specific, other than maybe like the Earth Day thing, if there aren't specific projects that we can advertise right now for volunteers, even just creating a list of people that we can reach out to. And
Right,
I don't
an
know what
email
it
list,
would
yeah.
look like. It could be flyers. What I've done with like lots of clubs in the past that works well is just having a computer with a Google form open so that people can just type in their name and their email address or phone number or all three. And then it's all in one place. And the next time that we have something that we want to tell people about, whether it's like an event like the flies and fungi thing, or it is a volunteer thing, then we just have at least somewhere to start.
Mhm.
Because I think usually,
We do.
Probably 25 days on an email.
Yeah, and I've got 50 from fungi.
yeah, so just like getting I think, flyers are useful, but they are not as good at getting people to actually reach out or to stay up to date as, like nudging them in an email inbox. So yeah, I don't know what that would look like. Usually, like in the past, I've just made a simple Google form that has a very easy way to fill out, and as they're leaving or coming into a space, they can just click it, because especially if they're not saying, like I want to sign up for this specific event, or they don't want to like commit to anything, that at least like gets their name on our radar.
Do you think you could do that by the 20th and
I could do that in
Seconds.
by 7:44.
Okay,
Yeah.
would you be present at that event?
It's a Thursday, so you can't, but I could be there.
Teamwork.
Teamwork makes the
See,
dream work.
there you go.
I will put it on your iPad, that'll make it easier.
The other thing that, just so that you know, we have access to, probably overkill for this, but we do have access to survey 123, which is, that's part of the town's GIS license that allows you to create surveys. And
The
that's-
town has a
And
GIS
it
license?
goes directly into a database.
That is.
So it's even a little bit, it's pretty quick. You just knock out some questions and then things go right into this database. And it'd be nice to be able to make use of that,
Yeah.
that license so that we can just keep justifying.
Well, if there's definite areas of things that we're suggesting people might want to be, so you said trail cleaning,
Mhm.
historical research,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
Um,
kind of stone walls are just, we have a lot of properties. People ask us, what were these for beforehand? And
yeah,
I can go and tell you, probably agriculture can tell you more.
yeah. So I mean, if there's 3 or 4 different categories, maybe the survey using that either in addition to or instead of the Google Doc, just because the people could answer the questions of which areas they're interested in.
That can, yeah.
You can show them on a map that's built into the survey with the little dots where the properties we have are.
That'd be cool.
Hmm.
And then after this, as much as this is an awesome discussion, we should probably move on because we have 10,000 other things and Dylan is waiting for a phone call
Yes.
Oh.
and Josh has to drive home from this.
Oh, do the fun.
Yeah.
I'll just keep plugging away on this if you want, I just want to proceed with the other stuff.
If I,
On my next.
if I like made this real quick, is there a way, like if I wanted to send the link so that you guys could see it there? To whom?
Oh, we can't.
What is that connected to?
That is connected to its, but so there is no email account that can post to that computer.
But is there a computer connected to this right now?
Yes.
So,
We could log into someone's email. But I'm not sure if we want someone's
Well, let's
email.
let them
Yeah.
get through
Public.
their agenda thing.
Yeah.
It sounds like a lot of business to do, so.
But thank you, that's awesome. All that stuff is awesome. So I'd like for us to skip down to 4.8 real quick, just because Dylan from DEM is waiting for a phone call. Just so everyone is familiar with us, with the hunting thing, because I know we haven't talked about it in a while, and so you two know. So currently we don't allow any hunting on town land, contrary to the deer stands and bait in Bowdoin and Grove. Marina found the bait, which is another problem.
that's upsetting.
Yes. But we have a big overpopulation of deer,
Mhm.
particularly in Bowdoin. The forest should not be as clear as it is right now. And we've been working with DM for, I think, a year to talk about some potential opening up properties to hunting. What would that look like regulatory wise? What's the process looking like? So at this point, we are just focusing on opening up Bowdoin. We'd consider some other properties. We're thinking just archery, and you have to have completed it's like a safe archer course. You have to have the certification in order to hunt on our land. So yeah, Dylan wants to chat with us just to keep it moving and to answer any questions everyone has. But does anyone have any questions before I call him?
If, just a quick question, if it was opened for archery, does it have to follow the state like length of season?
It
'Cause it's-
could, but we could shrink it.
Cause it's a long time for people to have to worry about getting shot in the woods.
Yeah, so it could, there's really not, as to safety concerns, it's very low when
Mhm.
people do get shot. Because the activities of the hunters and hikers tend to not overlap.
Mhm.
And hunters are pretty good about it, but the other thing we have been considering for that is a buffer on the trails, so I think it's a 200-foot buffer. On either side of the trail, if you're in that, you can't shoot. But we have thought about shrinking the archery season. Okay, should I call him?
Call Dylan.
Okay.
Does he have questions for us or?
I don't, I have no idea.
Okay.
We will find out. Make that loud. Hi, Dylan.
Hey Jenna, how's it going?
Good, you're on speaker. All the land trust is here as well as our 2 newest members.
Awesome. Thanks for letting me call in. I appreciate it.
So I know you wanted to talk about any questions any folks had. I just reviewed where we are at as to hunting discussions, which is still the archery, the safety certification, and just boat and property.
Okay, yeah, I'm happy to take any questions that any of the members had, comments, concerns. Yeah, I'm an open book.
So, we have brand new members here, so maybe you could go over some of the issues of safety between hunters and hikers.
Okay. I would say there is not an issue of safety between the hikers and the hunters. We have archery hunting across our entire state on wildlife management areas. Those are open for the public for recreation. So, you know, those are even open during the firearm season as well. And we've yet to have incidents between hunters and hikers or hunters and the non-hunting public. Most of our hunters are going to be up in tree stands and elevated positions, especially archery hunters. So they're going to be shooting in a downward angle, which makes it a very safe activity for the hunter and for the non-hunter as well.
We were talking about the season. How long is the state season? And because we were thinking we might want to shrink that, I guess, is one of the questions we were talking about.
Yeah, so our season is September 15th through January 31st for Zone 1. And then it's going to be October 1st through January 31st for Zone 2. So depending on which zone you're in, I believe Coventry is Zone 2, so that would be October 1st through January 31st. There's a chance that that'll change in the next few years. Full disclosure, it's likely to change to September 15th. You know, it's not official, and that's, you know, just internal conversations that we're having amongst, you know, staff. But yeah, I believe right now it's October 1st through January 31st. But in all likelihood, the state will eventually change that to be even a longer season, like Zone 1, which is the September 15th through January 31st.
Now, if we wanted to, we can adjust that for our particular place, right?
Yes, it's not something I would recommend, but I think it's something that I think hunters and myself would be amenable to, especially for the first few years of the program. You're kind of like a soft launch of like, okay, we're not going to go the whole season, but we're going to do maybe the shoulder seasons of, you know, the non-hunting public. So whether that's a late season, I think that's something I would be okay with working with the land trust on, just to make sure that we sort of get the ball rolling, everybody becomes comfortable with the program, and then as things progress and we're looking to harvest more deer, we can expand that season.
So we could, I'm thinking maybe back it up to maybe a couple weeks into November through the end of January to capture people going out on Thanksgiving and the holidays, and also a lot of hikers, or at least a lot of fair weather hikers are starting to kind of end their season that time of year, so even less chance of overlap.
Yeah, I think you know, the ideal situation, like I mentioned before, you know, the entire season would be great, right? And one of the biggest reasons for that is our state lands, where most of our hunters are spending their time. November, the first weekend of November starts our muzzleloader season. So that's when our firearm hunters go out, and that's when most of our hunters are in the woods. So if you were to push the archery season back into November, you would have less effort. So you'd have less hunters, which may not necessarily be a bad thing for the first couple of years, right? You're looking to just slowly see how this program runs, if there are any issues, and this might, actually work better, not necessarily for harvest, but for just making sure there's no problems, no issues. So, yeah, I think a later season, maybe after Thanksgiving, start December and run till the end of January, where most of the hikers are indoors and taking a break because it's cold and there's snow. I don't think that's a bad idea for the first few years.
Okay.
Can I ask who enforces though if hunters are not following the rules?
That would be our Division of Law Enforcement. So that's your traditional game warden is what they're sometimes referred to. So within DEM, we have its own Division of Law Enforcement. They're, conservation officers, game wardens, whatever you call them. But basically, yeah, now that this would be enrolled in the co-op program and we'd have an MOU, our enforcement officers would be able to basically walk onto the property and inspect for compliance. So that means they could go out ahead of the season and make sure nobody's there ahead of time. They could go there after the season and make sure nobody's nobody's out there after the season closes. And to be honest, the main people who are sending in violations are other hunters. So, or hikers maybe. So, because in the circumstance of, let's say somebody's out there before the season opens, let's say they're out there October 3rd, and a hiker is probably going to see them and be like, hey, I thought this property was only open, in November or December. And they can call our Fish and Wildlife hotline, our phone number, or they can call the Division of Enforcement dispatch line, and they can let people know. I would assume a hunter that is in there illegally wouldn't report another hunter, so that's pretty unlikely. But yeah, if there was any illegal activity, our Division of Law Enforcement would be the one to handle that.
So what time of day do hunters usually hunt? Is it like, 6 to 9 in the morning? Do you put limits on the hours of hunting?
There are limits in terms of hunting, but they're very broad. So hunters can actively hunt from 1/2 hour before sunrise to 1/2 hour after sunset. So that's basically all of daylight time, right? So for, in terms of conflict with hikers, if that's what the biggest concern is, that's basically completely overlapped. With that being said, most of the hunters who hunt in the mornings traditionally go into the woods well before legal shooting time, which is a 1/2 hour before sunrise. So they're going to be going in the dark, and they usually come out of the woods around 10, 11 o'clock, sometimes 12. It all depends on when sunrise is. Then for the people who hunt the evening hunt, they're going to be going in a few hours before sunset. So they, in December, they'd probably be going into the woods around 1 o'clock, and they'd be getting out of the woods, just after dark, because they want to sit there until the woods is dark, when deer are most likely to move. So the woods is usually pretty inactive with hunters in the middle of the day, because that's when deer are least active. So from that 11 to 2, for the most part, most of the hunters are out of the woods, going having lunch somewhere, warming up, getting coffee, bathroom break. So the middle of the day is usually a slow time. There are some hunters who will spend all day in the woods. They might be using vacation days or whatever. They'll be out in the woods all day, but primarily most of them are in the woods. The first few hours of the morning and the last few hours of the day.
I guess my other concern or question is about cleanup. If they take a deer, they remove all parts of the deer?
That's a good question. Yep, so that's a good question. I would say common practice right now is hunters are going to field dress their harvested deer in the field. That's why it was called field dress. Basically what that means is a hunter's going to harvest their deer, and they're going to field dress it, so they're going to take all the internal organs out, and that is usually left on site, and that's the preferred method. Obviously, we don't want that to occur on trails, so that'd be something that we could put in regulations. It's like no field dressing along trails. It's not something we put in any of our regs for any of our other co-ops, because it's kind of just common knowledge and common courtesy. if you felt strongly about including that in regs, we could. I would advise not to, and if it becomes an issue, then we could then include those in regulations later on. But then the hunter would take the whole deer out of the woods, bring it to their, home or to their butcher for it to be processed.
Now, my question is, if they do field dress it and they left the the insides out there, would that attract more coyote, predator kinds of creatures? And has there ever been a problem with that?
I would say, to be honest, if there's a gut pile, which is what is typically referred to of the internal organs that are left behind as a gut pile, obviously scavengers are going to come to that gut pile and feed off of that. So that might be fisher cats, bobcats, coyotes, crows, turkey vultures. There's a whole suite of animals that are going to sustain themselves off of a gut pile. It's not their only food resource, but they will utilize it. So in terms of will there be more of that, or more of those coyotes or predatory species or scavenger species as a gut piles, based on the hunting structure right now, a late season, archery only, I wouldn't imagine it's going to have a significant impact for the predator density on the landscape. There's not going to be a high enough harvest on one property for those regulations to, in my opinion, to make a significant impact to draw these predators to the properties.
I also feel like, if anything, I've just been noticing more people like on Coventry Facebook having problems with like coyotes in like community areas. So if anything, like if we're allowing this to happen, it'll potentially even bring them back into the woods. I did have unless you had something else to say on that, I did have a question.
No, I was going to say the homeowners associations will be thankful if that ends up being safe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Attract all the mess of carnivores.
Yeah.
And this is like a question both for you, but also for the group, and maybe this is just my lack of knowledge on this, so hopefully I'm not embarrassing myself. But if we're opening this up with the kind of primary motivation being the fact that there are too many deer, what kind of monitoring is involved to make sure that the population isn't being like, we're not overcorrecting? Like, what kind of long-term management or monitoring is going into opening this up, in case in the future we determine that it doesn't need to be the case anymore, or that it's having the wrong effect for whatever reason? I'm just wondering if we just say, okay, now you can hunt, and then we just hope that it does what we expect it to do, or if there's some sort of follow-up that's done every certain amount of time, to see how the kind of plan is working and whether there need to be adjustments.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So in terms of the harvest that occurs on these properties specifically, we monitor in terms of our harvest reporting. So Joe Hunter goes out to the property, to the Bowden property. He harvests an adult doe. He has to then report to Fish and Wildlife that he has done so. So we get electronic reports for most of the season. And then we also get biological data at deer check stations, but that's the first week of November and then the first weekend of December. So those 2 weekends, hunters bring their deer physically to a check station, and then biologists like myself monitor or collect biological data to help monitor the overall health of the herd.
Which is really
And
fun,
then
by the way.
in terms of monitoring the deer numbers across the state, that's something we're looking to revamp starting this year. So this year we're doing an aerial deer survey of the entire state to monitor what the population is doing. So that's one way that we're going to monitor the deer herd across the state. Now, obviously, you can imagine an aerial survey isn't something that's cheap or very cost effective. I mean, it's effective, but it's expensive. So there are other ways to monitor the population. So the way that we have managed and monitored the population through time is by looking at our hunter harvest. And basically we're looking at, okay, we've sold 20,000 deer permits for the past 10 years. And what is our harvest on? So this gives us an index over time. So between that and looking at this aerial deer survey, we're going to hope to correlate the harvest with the deer population at a point in time. And then every 5 or every 10 years, we're going to continue to do these statewide aerial deer surveys and check on how our index is in comparison to the actual number from our surveys. There's also some other methods like browse surveys, pellet surveys, some sex age kill models that we're working on.
I got a boatload of pellets if you want them.
Yeah, but deer pellets are easy to find, unlike
Yeah.
New England cocktail pellets.
Those are in my freezer.
Yeah. So yeah, those are some other surveys that are effective. Not necessarily something we're able to do right now, just because they take a lot of staff time, which what we don't have. The deer program is basically myself and one technician for half of the year. So unfortunately, we don't have the staff to do these pellet surveys or these browse surveys, and that's why we've look at our hunter harvest through time, use this aerial survey, and then use these population reconstruction models that uses the data we're collecting at our check station. And what that data we're really using is our age at harvest. So how many yearling females, how many 2.5-year-old females, how many male fawns, and so on. So that's the data we're using to monitor the deer herd.
Bill, do you track like roadkill as well for the number of deers that are impacted?
Yeah, we do. We're actually looking to hopefully make that a little bit better in the coming future. We're just passed, I believe we're in the process of passing regulations allowing any member of the public to salvage roadkill deer. So right now our reporting method is basically anybody sees a roadkill, they call our enforcement hotline, they report a roadkill, and then all those numbers get reported back to me. So we're hoping to sort of mesh the two together to get a little bit more of a fine scale number in terms of roadkill. But yeah, right now we have a pretty rough idea of roadkills across the state.
And it's increasing?
I would say yes. I don't have my numbers in front of me just to look and say, okay, in the last 5 years, it's went up, X percent. If I had to just go off on my own gut right now, I'd say we were probably hovered around 1,000 when I first started back in 2017. And I believe now we're probably around 1,500 to 1,300, but don't quote me on that. But I do believe the numbers have increased since I started in 2017.
I just have one last question about something you mentioned. Just given that the hunters' reports are the seemingly primary survey, what, in your at least opinion, is like the compliance with doing that? I can imagine like the typical hunter, I assume, would be pretty diligent about reporting whatever they harvest. But at the end of the day, there's no real way to guarantee that that's happening. I'm just wondering what you feel is the, general approximate compliance with that as far as creating like an accurate estimate of the population.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we just did a deer hunter survey this last winter for the end of last hunting season. So although the hunting season just ended this year. So the hunting season before, we sent out a deer hunter survey to all of our licensed deer hunters and asked them point blank, how did you report your deer harvest? And it was online, over the phone by calling our office, at a deer check station, did not report, or other. So unfortunately, I was pretty surprised. Our reporting rate was pretty low. It looked like we had only a 60% reporting rate. So out of 10 hunters, 6 of them are reporting their deer to DEM. So I was a little surprised. Across the Northeast in New England, it appears from my colleagues that reporting rate hovers around 80%. So I'm going to issue this survey again this year and ask the question a little bit differently and make sure that the number we're getting is correct. With that being said, if the next survey validates it, obviously it's not great to not get all of the data, but being able to quantify that reporting rate will actually improve the model. So yeah, it sucks that we don't have 100% reporting rate, but at least knowing that reporting rate is a critical tool for the model. So, we're going to work with our outreach team to sort of send out some more messaging to increase reporting rate, and maybe find out why hunters aren't reporting their harvest and see what we can do as managers to increase that number. But the most importantly, being able to quantify that reporting rate is, really important, and that's the first step. So, yeah, I wish I could say we had 100% reporting rate, but unfortunately, we don't. But I'd rather know than assume incorrectly.
Yeah, for sure. Do
And
we-
I will, sorry, I'll just mention quick before I forget. So at the end of every deer season, I analyze all of our deer data and I publish a deer hunter summary each year. So you can go online and review any of our past deer hunter reports, basically. And that has a lot of this sort of roadkill estimation, what our harvest is, what the reporting rate might be, how many deer permits we sold, how many deer are harvested on each property. So there's a ton of information on there. And if anybody wanted that and couldn't find it, just let Jenna know and she can reach out to me and I can send it to the group, but it's pretty easy to find. You can just Google RID and deer harvest report and then you can find that 2017.
Do hunters have a limit as to how many deer they can take in a season?
Yes. So hunters, depending on which zone you're in, can harvest 2 bucks across the state. So no matter what zone you're in, you can shoot 2 bucks. And then depending on the zone you're in, you can shoot 2 or 3 does. Or let me rephrase that, 2 or 3 antlerless deer. So the goal of this, right, is to reduce deer density. So we want to see an antlerless harvest. So I believe Coventry, it has a bag limit of 2 antlerless deer on the year. But again, this this deer survey we're doing this winter is going to hopefully shed some light on what the deer numbers look like. And my suspicion is that the deer numbers are going to be higher than anticipated in the past. And we're likely going to increase that bag limit per hunter. And again, this is all, internal discussion right now. So I would appreciate it if we could keep it that way for the most part. But yeah, we're going to get this
Do you
deer
know
survey.
this is on the record?
Okay. That's fine.
Okay.
Um,
Any discussions with us like this have to be on the record just for public meeting purposes?
yeah, that's fine. Just don't advertise it if people are, or whatever. But yeah, so we're going to do this deer survey. My anticipation is there's going to be more deer than we have thought in the past. And then we're going to reevaluate our deer season structure. And most likely what's going to happen is we're going to increase our antlerless bag limit.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? All right. Dylan, did you have any questions for us or points for us before I let you go? And I have a big question first. But I think you wanted to say.
No, I don't think so. I think you guys have some really good questions. Certainly see where you guys are coming from. You want to keep, the deer densities down, but you also don't want to create conflicts with, the non-consumptive users like hikers and dog walkers, and I totally understand that. So any questions that may pop up, feel free to shoot me a message or an email, and I can do my best to reply as soon as I can, although I will be away.
All right. And real quick, the bait I reported last week in Grote, you don't happen to know if enforcement has gone out to deal with it?
I do not, but I could ask.
That would be awesome, thank you, because it was quite a setup, and that's been there at least a year, because there was coyote poop with corn in it last year.
Okay. Yeah, and
So-
that the things that I actually prefer to have hunters on the landscape is, you have an extra set of eyes and ears that are off trail as well as on trail. So your hikers and dog walkers are basically on trail 99% of the time, but then when you have these hunters that enter the property, they're able to overview much more of the property and see what's going on. So, if it wasn't for Jenna out there looking for rabbit poop, that might have never been found. So
For the record, that was my friend who actually spotted it first.
Oh, that's
So,
okay.
That's all her. All right.
But yeah, no, I'll try to follow up with enforcement. A lot of times they won't tell me information if it's an ongoing investigation. My guess is with bait sites, they try to kind of hang back and catch somebody in the act.
All right.
So my guess is I probably won't have any information, but I will ask and let you know.
Yeah, thank you, because I called dispatch last Monday, I think it was, and they said when the EPOs would call me, and I never got a phone call. So it's the good sized patch of bait. There's a camera there with a solar charger on it and a deer stand. Like, that guy's serious. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sent pictures to dispatch.
Okay, send me those pictures as well, because
Okay.
I'll hopefully be able to tie the report, and I'll try to get a hold of an individual officer opposed to dispatch.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Well, thank you again for chatting with us and going through this process. And I know it's a wicked late conversation, so we really appreciate you being able to chat at this time.
Yeah, happy to take any other questions, comments, concerns if you have any, and thanks for your guys' time.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank
All
you.
right, have a good.
You too.
I just wanted to get that through because I know he's been waiting for a while.
Right.
He was texting me during the council meeting. All right. Do we want to keep discussing hunting now that we're off the phone with Dylan? Or do we want to move on since it's 8:14?
I think we should move on.
All right. We'll keep discussing next meeting. I've asked him what the regulatory cycle is for 26 to 27, and we still have a few months to make a decision, so we're not under a time crunch.
Oh, so this is not for next fall, it's for the fall after.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I just ask a general land trust question?
Mm.
Is there like a way, like a best way for us to like communicate as a group in between meetings?
So,
That's about the other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so if it depends on what it is, if you have, like if you come up with a flyer and you want to share that with everyone, you would email, me and I would, send it out.
Okay,
That's kind of the safest way to do that. And then if it is something like, you know, something like scheduling, I can just email the whole group, because you're talking about scheduling, you're not talking about business that the trust has.
okay, but as
Um,
far as like updates on like, let's say for, you know, if I were to reach out to somebody and get a response, like I would just have to wait till next month to talk about that response.
You can do that through Josh. You
Yeah.
can tell Josh
Okay.
and he can tell us, but
Okay.
everything has to be available to the public. We have to
Yeah.
be, yeah.
And what's your contact
It's
information?
J Chase, Chase
Mm.
at coventryri.gov. And I can give you a card on the way out, if you want. And I would need both of your emails as
Yeah.
well. You know, just so I can send out agendas to you and
Cool.
that sort of thing.
Josh was really fast, but unfortunately we can't get into, reply all discussions and everything because it's open meetings, and if only a few of us start discussing something, then we run into something called a rolling meeting, which is a no. So unfortunately, this is the only time we can all come together as a group and chat. Yeah.
Yeah, it isn't a problem if, say, you're all at
The party.
Earth Day or you know, a training or something like that, because you aren't discussing land trust stuff. You
Business
know,
items.
yeah, you're, talking about land trust days, or you're talking about, other stuff.
So events that we're hosting, we can attend together
Right.
Yeah.
and do things together. We just can't talk business.
Yeah.
Got it.
Or I'm part of Linda's writing group, which meets every 2 weeks, but
Got it.
it would just any of these items we can't, unfortunately.
I lied, now there's a follow-up question. So what would that look like for social media then? Like if we were to try to create a social media presence, would that mean that like every time I wanted to, or whoever wanted to like post something or do something on there, that would have to like go through everyone here at a meeting or through Josh and then everyone here?
Don't
So
we have a
Yeah.
Facebook page?
Yeah.
we do have a Facebook and an Instagram. Historically, no, there wouldn't really be group approval of posts, but maybe what we could do every meeting is just say like, all right, I'm thinking of this post for this week and, you know, the next few weeks and run through the gamut and go, okay, that we're all cool with that.
Yeah, we wouldn't have to have, you know, an exact, you know, this will be posted on the third, and then
Yeah.
this will be, you know,
Yeah, that.
it can be, you know, Jenna is going to come up with a post that will go out next week.
Mhm.
And, you know, that's kind of all that has to be brought up.
Okay,
We're looking for volunteers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Look, we saw a beaver,
Yeah.
which I still haven't seen and bothers me.
Uh-huh.
But I did walk out to the dam the other day because the pond was frozen.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
Cool.
to the lodge, I found the lodge.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's cool. They're probably not gonna resurface though for a bit if it's so cold.
Mhm.
We had a bobcat in our backyard.
Cool,
Awesome.
cool.
That's really cool. Anyway, sorry.
Yes,
This is my-
They're all good. Good. This is how we all figured it out.
Yeah.
Honestly. Treasurer's report.
And, have money, since 2025, this was the report for last month where we, didn't have forums, so they need to do it, because nothing changed. The one thing that is new on there as of January 21st was like, put in $600, conservation will be approved, spent, anticipating that we would want to spend that.
Okay.
Again, double stars after us, we haven't voted on it yet, so it's just for informational purposes only. If we lose that $600 or balance, it's going to be $684.94. We have remaining until June 1st.
Third.
July
July
1st,
first.
July
Yeah.
1st. So once we spend that $600, we don't have a lot of wiggle room to spend on it. So that's my report. I think we still have $708.15 left in ARPA sign money. We weren't able to spend, and who knows whether we'll actually have that or not. I know, Josh, you said the town council is committed to getting it to us, but
Yeah,
it may go away entirely.
so I don't think it can be used for anything else.
Okay.
So, on that, the signs should be here tomorrow,
Oh, excellent. Okay.
so. Yeah, if
We keep an eye, but
UPS can be trusted, it will be here tomorrow.
Where are these signs for?
All over the place.
yeah, we have
Like they're like trail marking signs?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
dog poop,
Yeah,
pick up after your dog signs.
I saw another one of those the other day.
So we're
Feels
going to
it's
have a sign.
Sign party. big
Party,
sign party.
yeah.
Nothing
Cool.
but
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they have all the stuff.
Mhm.
Sign marathon.
Put a sign there.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you.
Report.
All right, on to Land Trust website, page updates, content. Thanks.
There really isn't any, but just I'll do a brief overview, very brief, to show you guys the new members of the land trust. What we've been working on is right. You've probably seen the existing website on but we now we're working on this so that
Oh, this is great.
we'll have something a little more. So we'll have a card for each one of the properties, the trail map there, a little discussion of each one. We will have we'll have a place for wildlife important things that are going on.
Oh, look, it's my hand.
Yeah, so I have to put up your salamander.
I haven't seen a salamander in so long.
Oh,
So sad.
they're so cute.
We'll have place for history here.
Oh, cool.
Where we can put in any information that we have on the different properties here.
Hmm.
Species wild records put together, we can have a photo thing here, that we can put in. You have a visitor survey, so this goes along with what you were mentioning before about asking for people to sign up for things. We could also put a volunteer survey up
Hmm.
here so that. Yeah, this is this draft, so we have to come up with questions about the visitor survey. We haven't done that yet, so, and then this is where we could put information about conservation easements and other things. So that's the plan. It's a skeleton right now.
Do you think that it would be possible to include a page that just is kind of like a running log sort of what the main things that we do in these meetings are, like the main things that we're working on? I just wonder, maybe that would also be a way to, like, if people, you know, especially if we are able to, like, through social media, through other things, like direct people to the website, if people see something that we're working on or talking about that they are interested in, or that they have ideas for, or that they're passionate about, it would maybe be nice to like have a list of those things with some, you know, ideas and notes, but then also maybe a beyond a survey, which I think is great as far as like a trail survey, a page that allows people, maybe even connected to that blog of what we're doing, that allows people to contact us and say, like, here are ideas, here are concerns, here is, I want to get involved in this, etc.
What about events too?
Yeah. Definitely have events on here. Yeah. All great ideas.
Even if it was just,
and-
you might, just because you can't have 50,000 pages on your
Right, yeah.
main thing, there could be a get involved, and then
Yeah,
the survey
yeah, for sure.
and the, what
Like what we're
what's
doing.
going on, and any events can all be on
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
one.
we can have subheadings on.
Cool.
Yeah.
See more.
Mhm. That's great.
Yeah. Salamanders and shrooms can be collapsed with wildlife reports.
Work in progress, and it's slow, but
Who is working on this specifically?
that's me.
That's you? Awesome. Yeah, I'm
With-
happy
with help,
to,
Obviously, I just put the pages together, but Jenna's the one who's got to write the reports, and the history part is really interesting to me, but I don't have time to into it, so.
yeah, if there's anything specifically that, like, you want to prioritize so that I can help with, let me know.
That's all I have for that agenda item. Again, it was mostly just a.
Alright, thank you. Has anyone seen any potential properties of interest? This is basically an item where if we see stuff like on the market, and stuff we want to move on, then we would discuss it and schedule site visits and things like that.
Yeah.
We kind of already talked about grant opportunities with outreach. And I have something, but it kind of goes with 4.7. Were there any other grant opportunities we wanted to discuss?
I can look into some,
Yeah.
for next time. Is there, other than maybe for the, youth crew thing that we talked about, were there other things that we were hoping to, specific things that we were hoping to get grants for, or also just looking for general more funding for broad land trust usage?
At some point, I'm hoping to burn the land and we'll need quite a big grant to do that. So, but that's like in the future. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, but I mean, I don't know who gave this to me, but thank you.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we need them badly.
Tillinghast Pond area needs it badly.
I'd love to burn
Mhm.
Whipple, but we can't. Because it's too popular.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
But that thing is gonna go up one day.
Mm-hmm.
just from the motorbikes and the ATVs going through there, at 90 something, you know.
Got me started.
Which property is that?
Whipple.
Oh.
Sandy Bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have an ongoing problem with, ATVs and.
Oh, yes,
people-
we're very familiar. Our dogs are not fans.
They're not supposed to be there.
Oh.
Trying to convince the police to enforce it.
Mhm.
Oh, Laura Meyerson.
What?
Yeah. We worked with Laura occasionally.
Oh, cool.
Oh, really?
She's great.
Laura Meyerson is the person from URI who did the invasive stuff, but her son and I were in the same grade at Rocky Hill.
And her other son and I were.
Okay.
He is now doing.
It's a small
I know.
world.
He's Portland, I don't know what, I don't know what they're all up to right now, but, Cortland is doing, the son that was in my grade is doing, he like somehow is already a founder of a sustainable agriculture group in New York City. I'm
Yeah.
like, all right,
Oh, wow.
all right, okay.
Malcolm is acting, I think. Oh, really?
I heard he went out
No,
to
it's
Hollywood. I
okay.
didn't-
Yeah, I did remember, I remember that, but
Yeah. Okay.
anyway.
So as to the research update front, oh geez, we missed important calendar dates. I'm sorry. Do we want to discuss those?
We have them,
Yeah, I think we have a
Okay,
birthday.
post days and.
Please.
All right.
all right. Perfect.
Are those listed somewhere?
Land Trust Days, we normally determine the date of as we get closer. So that's a statewide celebration of land trusts that
Oh,
we,
not just Coventry Land. Trust,
Yeah,
but other land. Trust.
yeah.
Gotcha.
so we're, we answer to the town council, but we also work very closely with the Rhode Island Land Trust Council.
Mhm.
Which is an NGO that kind of oversees us. They're lovely. And every year they want to celebrate their land trust, so they say, can you guys all do events? So we do walks, some people will do birding things, some people will do this, do that. That's usually like October, September-ish. Last year they asked us to open up land trust days for the state, and that was August, I think. I think it was August. But yeah, that's late. So
And we usually do something in April for, are we going to do we have that date yet for,
I think we had discussed it. I did leave a voicemail this morning with Tyler from Bartlett Tree about their planted tree is on. I haven't heard back yet. Then again, I only called this morning. So hopefully they'll come. I also need to talk to George Christie about doing native plant-a-thon and the details of that.
That sounds cool.
You'll come to find out we do lots of partnerships here.
I love that.
so I was thinking of the Earth Day thing. Do we have that planned out?
I'm not seeing it. I know, I thought we did.
I don't see anything for Earth Day, so we might want to schedule that, but it's coming up faster than we think.
It is.
So, unfortunately, Earth Day is the 22nd, and on the 20th is Easter Sunday, so we're probably gonna want to put it off until the weekend after. So, the 26th, 27th. You want to schedule that right now for the 26th, which is a Saturday?
Yeah, an Earth Day celebration event. Sure.
I would also may just suggest, like, I think the primary thing should be the following weekend. But if it is Easter Sunday, we could potentially capitalize on people like coming into the area and being with family and
Mm.
children and kids needing things to do.
We do have the largest Catholic parish.
And there we go. So I'm just wondering.
Advertise with Father Woolley.
in the
Yeah.
woods.
Yeah, well, honestly, that honestly is a great idea. Like that, you say that it's a joke, but that sounds like actually so fun, and I would have loved doing that as a, I mean, you kind of made those for us as kids, but yeah, maybe if we could do some sort of event day of that is less of the kind of thing that is done every year that, you know, requires more of the day, but if there's maybe, yeah, like a trails Easter egg hunt or something, like cleanup or like, yeah, like trail maintenance and Easter egg hunt, or if not even just an Easter egg hunt to get people just even like anything that gets
Oh, we
people
could
out
fix
into the woods, I think could be fun. But I yeah, I just know like as
As
you know.
somebody, I wouldn't be able to volunteer for that, because I have so many commitments on that day.
That's
So
a lot,
getting
and a lot of people do. I think that would maybe be the benefit of doing something that is a lot more chill and wouldn't necessarily require like a ton of volunteers for more than and at all, but even then maybe for, you know, more than an hour or two. Yeah, I just wonder if maybe it would be fun to try to capitalize on the fact that there are going to be like a lot of families like all together, maybe looking for post church / other things, activities. Yeah.
Something to think about. I'd advise against an Easter egg hunt because of the separation in church and state for that reason, but also because Easter eggs are plastic and they're lost in the woods. Now we have a problem.
Well, let's use eggs, but yeah.
Those are the price of eggs these days.
Well, that's it. They're expensive.
Yes.
There's our budget.
Yes.
That gets you 1 dozen eggs.
Yeah,
Got it.
yeah, yeah.
Actually do a geo.
Yeah.
In the geotag.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do.
These are good.
Yeah, those would last forever.
They were for show.
We'll find them next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won't be available on the 26th,
You won't be available on the 26th, okay.
but just one person. Happy to help. Kind of set up and stuff. I just can't be there physically on the day.
Do you want to go ahead and make it the 26th, even if Lynn can't come, or do you want to try for another day, or? I know I would not be available for Easter Sunday, so I
Yeah.
could not do Easter Sunday.
Just thinking of crowds in general, probably the 26th.
Yeah.
But if you want to come up with some ideas for another day, you know, we could discuss them next meeting too.
Sure.
And just do more events, more the merrier.
Yeah, what is usually like what usually goes on for the actual Earth Day
So
stuff?
we usually do a cleanup,
Yeah.
essentially. So we pick a property, and we just say we're gonna clean up this property when we have people bring clippers and, you know, garbage bags and
Chainsaws.
chainsaws, yeah.
But that doesn't mean it has to be just a cleanup. Could be
Yeah.
other stuff too.
And so I put down 10 as a potential 10 o'clock. Is
10?
it good?
Okay.
Okay.
Not too early, not too late.
Yeah, and then usually what we do is we show up at 9 and then we can get everything prepared and
Where do we want to go? What property do we want to go to?
This isn't just trash, right? It's also, because there's not a lot of trash.
no, it's also like, you know, clipping out the growth so that the trails are wider and making it more accessible. So it's a good question which property, because I think Whipple is pretty well maintained as it is. I don't
Yeah.
think
Yeah,
it
it is.
needs the work.
And we always do stuff there because of the parking lot.
Right, and Sullivan is like inaccessible.
Yeah.
And we
Does it-
tried to have an event at Bowden, at Sullivan, and nobody came. Nobody came, absolutely.
Yeah,
nobody.
because that road is weird.
Do we think that was a fluke, or do people not like Bowden?
That's
Well,
fluke.
It might have been a fluke. It's also that, part of it is that Sullivan is accessible from Bramblebush, but you can't get into Sullivan because of the erosion. So we decided to switch it to Ledge Road, and Ledge Road is really,
It's a tough road.
it's a tough road and it's people miss it and it's hard to see
Hmm.
and people don't even know it
It looks like
exists.
a driveway to someone's home. like,
It
real
really
down,
does.
and I think that's part of the problem, and they've been
Yeah.
driving forever.
Back up there, you
Yeah,
think
and I
got
think this
lost.
is a mistake, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you gotta go 2 miles down the road, and it's a weird road and windy
Yeah.
and
so do you want to do Stella Hall again, or do you want
we
you?
could.
We can't do, what's the new property? Grassett, it's not, there's no parking and it's not really got a trail yet or anything yet.
I think it
So,
has to be Stella Hall.
Yeah, cause we have, Groot, Mahoney, Nealon that we've all just learned we have, but none of those have trail systems in them,
right,
even though 2 of them are pretty accessible by the bike path.
right. So we don't even know anything about, we just found out. See, we're all new members of the land trust. I think Rory's the oldest member, right?
Yep.
So, it's almost like there's been a whole changeover at the guard. So,
And we've lost some knowledge as a
and
result.
we've lost a lot of our knowledge base.
So you'll see, I don't know, like down here, down on the agenda, we have an item for strategic plan, so we're developing that because we never had one. The next thing I want to develop is a information packet that you get when you join, so
Mm.
you're not bombarded like you two are right now. But yeah,
I
we're-
wonder, maybe this doesn't make any sense, but could one of the things for Earth Day, like maybe other than a cleanup, be to get maybe some people with a little bit more experience, or at least some not super young kids to maybe start helping develop trail systems on those new places, like doing some trailblazing work with people on that day? That, is
we,
that like a thing?
we could, the problem is we all have to get out into those properties ourselves.
Right, and
I've only been to part of Groot so far.
yeah,
Yeah. What feasible trail would even look like on. this property,
right.
Yeah,
but go to start.
you can do your
Yeah,
math.
and I think Sullivan's the place that needs a trail in a sense, because most of it, Sullivan is just one walk right through. There's a whole mess of Sullivan off to the side that
Yeah.
there's no trails in. But I think we need to do, I don't think that can happen this April. I think we need to do preliminary
Good
stuff.
idea.
Yeah,
It is.
But I guess the question is if Sullivan and Whipple are relatively well maintained, or, then what does a cleanup look like? If there's not enough to do, is that really an event, or do you do it in Bowdoin or somewhere where the work really needs to happen?
but we can do it in Bowdoin, but like I said, the last time we tried to do something in Bowdoin, absolutely nobody came.
Yeah, the problem is just the location of
Mhm.
Bowdoin. Like, it'd be great, we want to shuttle everyone there, but
Yeah.
Is there
People
no, are
drive
you saying
past
there's
it.
no parking, or is it just difficult to
Well,
get to?
this
There's
with
parking.
parking is the road is deceiving when you go up there. It's a
Yeah.
winding, very narrow.
we pulled up with
Oh,
Google
no,
Maps.
Sure.
But if you put like markers.
That's what I'm saying.
We did that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that too, yeah.
Hmm.
But it looks like when you turn in there, like, this is not correct.
Right.
Yeah, because there's driveways and on either side it's posted, which is not our land, it's private land.
Right.
You know,
I mean, I do think like with significant, large and bright signage, people would at least be aware that they're not in the wrong place.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah, the only other thing we could try with like an event at Bowdoin and Whipple and Sullivan is to meet up somewhere and ferry people to the place.
we could, then we
Yeah.
get into insurance
Yep.
and
Yeah,
liability.
that's true. Okay, never mind.
Because people can't find it, or because there's not enough parking?
No, there's plenty
Pe-
of parking. It's
they
not.
just
People
find
can't
it.
find it.
They can't find it, or you'd get a mile up and thinking this can't be right.
Yeah,
You know, and there's no signage on it that says land, land
Mhm.
property head or whatever.
I think, I think it's like, and again, this is maybe just my naive, just got here, want to do more than is possible, but like if we're gonna go through the effort and put in the work to make an event happen for Earth Day, and that does seem to be like the largest event as far as like community involvement, I feel like it would be a shame to not take advantage of that to do the work where it actually needs to be done. Obviously something is better than nothing, even if it's in a place that doesn't need it that much, but I feel like there is definitely a way to create like simple and very clear signage along the route. I mean, I even similarly to like the video on the Instagram that's just like showing people how to get to the door in here, like
Did that help?
providing some.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, but when I finally looked on my phone to see what office we were supposed to be going to,
and I was like, oh,
yeah, it was
Um,
that fine.
but
Signs on the telephone poles, but not any property.
Okay.
yeah,
do
like
that.
signs on the
What about
telephone
even
poles.
like cones that have signs on them?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
cones or, and again, like a video that is sent out to anyone, like if we, especially if we have like a sign up list, or if we try to get a sign up list, if we send out a
First task
email
is
that's
getting
like, yeah, we send an
We
email
have
that's
that.
like, the road is confusing, there will be signs, and also here is a video. I think that would be effective. We just have to like get on that and make sure that it actually happens. But like cones, signs on telephone poles, as long as they're distinct, I think, you know, if there's parking and that's the biggest thing, people can.
Right? That'd be it.
Maybe
We could
signs.
try signs on telephone. I'm also nervous about what property owners in through there would
Right.
be. I don't think we can impinge on anybody's property
Mm.
on the way.
No, but the
Telephone
telephone poles aren't their
poles are not
property.
private.
Yeah, so we could do telephone pole.
Yeah.
As long as we take it down at the end of the day, yeah.
And isn't like a certain distance from the road public like isn't the certain distance from like the road
Yeah,
state
but
property?
people don't care.
Yeah.
We
But
could
just as far as
also
like if we
put a
put a
little,
cone there for a day. you
we
know?
could also put a note in their mailboxes saying, look, we're gonna put, signs not on your property, but along the road for a cleanup. It'll be for 2 hours and then we'll take them all down,
You can't put anything in the person's mailbox.
You can't?
It's against federal law. I found out that hard way.
Oh,
Yes.
I didn't know that.
But we could send out mail.
That is true.
To those
Send out mail
addresses.
to
Yeah.
those addresses, but you can't, a non-postal person won't put anything in the mailbox. It's a federal.
Yeah, you can't even touch it.
Apparently you can go to jail.
Oh,
All right.
Slammer.
After that.
That's why you were late. Worst comes worst, we could also go in the back by the bike path, which is gonna be a bit of a walk.
So I don't even know the back way into Bowden. So is it along the bike trail?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's the yellow trail, I think,
It
that
is
dumps
very
out.
long.
Yeah.
Here,
We'll just
Oh,
walk
geez.
down the bike path with chainsaws. Look
That was
painful.
good, right. That shouldn't end their reputation anymore.
the men's club down, you have to park down there.
That's what was so hot though. With our,
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah. And then you have to get on the bike path.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how far in is it from the men's club area? If there is a parking lot right across from the men's club.
Right.
It should be
For
the wrench, usually. On the bottom.
Oh. Miles,
That's a hike.
a mile walk.
oh, I feel there's no closer parking spot, access spot.
Well,
Well, there's
like
main-
the difficult road and then the bike path is.
This is ledge. Is that ledge road?
I think that is ledge.
Yeah.
So it's very hot, okay.
No, wait, that's Bramble Bush.
Oh. This is Sullivan's.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
So
See how curvy it is and the people get weird.
Yeah. And it literally looks like a driveway.
It does.
Mhm.
The first time I drove into it, I'm like, I'm
It's a
gonna
crumpled
get
wall.
shot.
on the corner.
Yeah, I know.
It really looks the part.
Yeah.
I feel like it's worth a shot. Like, I feel like maybe this is the opportunity to, throw all the ideas at making it like well documented as far as signage and stuff, and making sure right where there's the road that looks like a driveway, there is the best signage. And that we get information out to people in advance that like the trickier, I feel like it's worth a shot. And then if this
Worth a
time
go.
the same thing happens where much fewer people show up than
Well, we
y'all
can
are
have less
used
than
to.
zeros.
That's true, but like if no people show up or if very few people show up compared to like previous Earth Day stuff, then that's okay, this spot doesn't work for community things,
Yeah.
but I feel like it's, again, cause if this is like the most significant, like wider spread way to get community involved in this kind of work that takes a lot of hands-on, I just feel like it would be a shame to not use
Right.
those hands in a place that needs it the most.
All right.
We also
Oh,
have to figure out, do some reconnaissance ahead of time, to make sure we know where
Yeah,
to go.
Where to
because
send
those
people.
big-
Yeah,
for sure.
it's,
Yeah.
make sure we have places.
the White Trail's bad.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
White Trail.
Yeah.
We usually print out trail maps and
Yeah.
do all of that, yeah.
So we could try. I mean, as far as like really big, lovely signs, that's deep, usually Parks and Rec provide those, right?
I can check with Parks and Rec.
Okay. Because they did the sign for like, Sandy Acres and for Whipple, and they provided
Or the
those,
permanent signs.
the permanent
Yeah.
signs.
I mean, I can also just make them, you know?
You can head there, yeah, too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All those things that the little stakes.
oh, yeah, like the,
Yeah, like lawn signs.
like the
Yeah.
story out, those. Yeah,
Yeah,
And
like as
then-
long as it isn't raining, like. Like as far as say, unless that we have a way to do it for super cheap. Like if we want to just get free signage, I'm more than happy to just. Like, get a pack of those on Amazon for
Oh, yeah.
$5-10 that are blank and paint
they'll,
on them.
you'll get reimbursed.
mhm.
But you know what I mean? Like I'm
right.
more than happy to just make them as opposed to spending the extra money to get them professionally made.
Okay.
For a 1-day event, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we
Yeah.
can do
That's what
that.
I'm
I'm
saying,
just
for
thinking,
temporary stuff like that.
yeah, eventually it would be nice to have an actual
Yeah,
sign.
for sure.
Yeah, but we might run into the same problem we had at Williams Crossing, where they don't want a sign. Cause it'll attract people.
Are they allowed to veto that?
Yeah, I'm surprised that they can get away. Well, it's,
We do answer to the public.
we do,
But like,
We have kiosks up there.
yeah,
Not on that end.
not on Williams Crossing, yeah.
Not village.
And I don't know that it would increase the traffic, and that's what.
No, no.
Yes,
Oh, yeah. Lynn took care of that.
yeah, I know, but,
That was fine.
so are
Well,
we?
well,
Are we good with
I think
voting?
that-
I don't mean to like steamroll or anything. I just feel like. I personally would be willing to do the extra work. To send out the emails and make signs and stuff to make it accessible for people.
But
Okay,
So,
let's do it.
all right, we'll do it. We'll
Yeah.
try. I mean, that sounds good.
We'll give it a go,
Good to go,
Yep.
yeah.
cause it does need it. It's our biggest parcel.
Mhm.
I'm
Connect
sure I'll be
everything
out
else.
there a bunch and start taking
yeah,
some.
we can just, yeah,
So-
we'll go explore.
Yeah, I feel like maybe all of us need to. Get out there in the next month or so and
Yeah.
be able to direct people on where to go.
Yeah. I don't do Bowden. I don't feel comfortable. I'm in
Okay.
my 70s, I
It's
just,
rocky and yeah, it's,
yeah.
I always end up a lot muddier than I meant to.
Not muddy.
That's why I wear cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
You throw them in the wash, you'd have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you wanna draft up like some flyers and such and maybe a letter we put into or mail to people's mailboxes
Yeah.
saying, hey, by the way, we're coming.
love
Yeah.
to see you.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, cause we did get a guy last time who lives in one of those houses, who
Yeah,
walked
what-
up and
yeah.
went, what are you guys
What do you
doing?
got here?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's just out of respect to just let them know, especially if it's gonna increase traffic up their road, to just let them know it's coming.
Yeah.
Maybe they'd like to help.
oh, their ATVs are in there.
Yeah.
yeah. We should probably move on.
Yes. Okay, I'll go through research updates then real quick, so. As to the fly front, George has been IDing all the flies he collected at Stella Hall and Whipple, and one of them is the first state record for that species.
Very cool.
Yeah, so I said we should publish that to let the
Mhm.
bug people know and put the land trust on the academic map.
Right.
Mhm.
And he said, how about we hold off until after this field season, see what other neat stuff he gets,
Okay.
which I think is fair.
No one's gonna get a bigger bug, right?
If we find the bearing beetle though, out there, we
That
will
would be
make
so
news.
cool.
Yeah,
That'd
I
be
worked with
so
them in Oklahoma. They're very
That's
cute.
the-
They're very cute.
Lose beetle, yeah.
We have their sister species. If we have the endangered one, we will make national news.
Yeah.
I doubt it though,
What
but
does it
that'd be
look like?
nice.
The bearing beetle?
Um,
They're like
They're
really
super
cool
cute.
black and red beetles. They're one of the,
They're
along with
like-
the New England cottontail.
yeah,
Along with the New England cottontail, they're one of the two, and the timber rattlesnake. They're one of the three, I guess, main species that Lou Parati, the conservation director at Roger Williams, that he's big on. So he did a whole reintroduction project with them in Nantucket.
they clean themselves like cats.
Okay.
Well, that's a
true.
carrion beetle. So,
The
similar
red and
family.
black,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's one on my finger.
The red and black photos are
Yeah.
correct. There's not
Yeah.
the all black one.
They're
Yeah,
super
that's
Put that blue dot on it.
Yes. I glued it on. You use a little bit of bee glue, and that's how you do a mark recapture study.
Yeah,
They're the
Mhm.
there they
cutest
are.
things.
They're kind of, once,
So they'll
once people learn
clean
about their
antenna.
behavior, then they're less
funniest
cute,
thing.
but it's fine. Okay, but that would be really cool.
I wasn't. And then I got a research study job.
Yeah.
Then we're in deep trouble.
We go out looking and point it out. She's like, "Hmm."
All right. Yeah. Well, yeah. So they did things. The fungi work is continuing. Rick is sequencing some fungi. And then really the big research update I have is I spoke to the Amphibian Survival Alliance, which is the Who We Are page. I spoke to them yesterday. So these are the people I meant to contact that approached me at the wildlife conference. And what's interesting about these people is I knew the conference was international. I just didn't put it together until I had to coordinate time zones between here, Panama, and Australia to meet with these people. So that was wild. But they're basically a group, they're a nonprofit group that tries to facilitate partnerships for amphibian conservation restoration work. Where did all my notes go? Really? Okay. They're a global network, and they use different resources, so like IUCN resources to promote amphibian research, conservation, what have you, however they can. They gave me a whole presentation yesterday on like the main threats to amphibians, which is habitat loss is threatening 93% of all species globally. Not surprising. Then you have things like climate change, disease, invasives, all sorts of stuff. And I can go into the weeds there if I had time, I would, but they want to have us on as a partner. What that means on our end is not a lot. There's a form we have to fill out that basically says this is who we are. I told them we're a municipal land trust. I said, look, we have no staff. So as much as we want to be out in the field surveying and doing the frog thing day in, day out, we can't. And they're fine with that. We would have no financial obligation for it. They would basically put us in like I guess like a database of sorts. If they get contacted by someone who is like trying to get salamander research from New England, they can say, oh, Coventry's doing that. Hey, Coventry, can you guys do stuff or give data? And vice versa. They have a lot of partners. The Smithsonian is a partner with them. So they're not just some random people. And also we would get just like advertising recognition. We could use their branding. They would use our branding. So we would get a global reach. And they would also get their first person in New England.
All right.
Okay.
But this is their website. They're very nice people. They're run by scientists. It's actually a pretty small group who runs it. They're really just partnership facilitators. And they'll also give you resources. So if we say like, hey, I have an endangered frog here and I want to do something, they can point to data and go, okay, this is what you should do. Yeah, and that's lots of neat things to poke around with. I can
I'll make
continue
them-
going, but
I'll make a motion that we join with the amphibian, let's see, amphibian species,
survival.
Survival.
amphibian survival alliance.
Okay.
Non-financial partner.
Okay,
Sounds good.
and I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? So voted to join the Amphibian Survival Alliance.
Okay, so are you gonna do that for us?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll take care of that because that's all wildlife stuff. So I'll do that. They have a big form. We have to, I'll fill out saying, you know, these are my acres. They want to know like what kind of species we have here, which I'll pull from their reports.
There's
Yeah.
also a professor at Brown that does a lot of like local Rhode Island frog
Really?
research stuff. Yeah.
Do they want to do research on our land?
Almost 100%. If I mean, as of last time I spoke to her, like I mentioned that there was a pond in our backyard and she was like, can I come there?
What's her
And,
name?
Andrea Simmons.
Oh, I think I know of her.
She does a lot of bat stuff also. Bats
Yeah.
and frogs.
Yeah, because
I can reach out to her though. If she's, I mean, I'm sure she's still doing the research, but if she's still in the throes of it, I'm sure she would be thrilled to have free reign on town land to do that research.
yeah, because a lot of what I've been trying to do is basically say, hey, we have this land, and do you guys want to do stuff? And we pretty much will ask for a research methodology and then issue a permit and say, yeah, have at it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are like probably more than just her even at Brown that would want to do that, but I can reach out to
Yeah.
her. She's was a IT aide for her for a while, so.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And then if she wants to know more about habitats, I can provide some
Cool.
details. Because one of the problems we've run into with the local universities and colleges, we've run into this with URI is we are too far away,
Yeah,
according to their perspective.
it's very Rhode Island.
Yeah, very Rhode
It
Island.
is. It is, it's true. I went to New Hampshire this weekend and forgot how big it was, and I lived there. That was stupid.
Yeah, every time I've gone to New Hampshire and I'm like, oh, this is a cool place. Also in New Hampshire, it'll take me like, I don't know, like 45 minutes to get there. And then it says it's like 2.5 hours to get to another town in the same state. And I'm
Yes.
like, oh,
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
just in Maine and, oh, it's just north of Portland.
oh,
Maine.
it's north of Portland.
On and on and on.
Well, I'm going to the Adirondacks at the end of this month for weightlifting. And I signed up for this in October. Wanted me to give a SciComm workshop. It's a student thing. And I'm like, oh, all right, how far could it be? It's the Adirondacks.
Okay,
That was stupid.
that one's a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah,
Because it's near Canada.
yeah.
I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
It's just a mountain range.
Yes, 4 days after I get back from Puerto Rico. I'm just,
Oh, jeez.
I wasn't thinking. Very nice. National Secretary. That's why I went to New Hampshire this weekend though. Okay, I'll reach out to them. Elsie, you'll reach out to Brown.
Mhm.
Yeah. Fundraising, which we kind of talked about, and membership opportunities. Did we want to talk more about that, given it's 9 o'clock?
I think we're, yeah.
Alright. For 4.10 land trust status, we now exist because we were sworn in today.
Yes,
Do we want to keep that on the agenda?
no,
Because there's an open position that might still get filled.
we might wanna,
There is, But this was referring to our transition from ye old land trust to the new and improved
Gotcha.
land trust.
So no, we probably don't need to
Yeah.
put that on.
When are things officially in our name as to property deeding? And that getting started?
That's going to take some time.
Okay,
Given how long Mende has taken. And I would imagine this would be lower on the priority than that is.
Well, for the agenda, maybe when that happens, just add it to the agenda and that meeting. You can announce that the properties are now in our,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
alright, cause if we vote at some point to go ahead with hunting and it's not in our name, that stops us short.
yeah.
Right, yep.
Alright. The strategic plan, what do we want to do there? Because we had to cancel our last workshop meeting since we weren't gonna have a quorum.
Right.
But
I
we do.
suggest we wait until we have our final member. And then we go ahead and start schedule meetings to do workshop that.
Hmm.
And that way we'll have all our full complement and we'll have everybody who's going to be going forward on the committee instead of when we started, there was only 4 of us left, so out of 7.
Yeah, we're pretty close. Alright, we can see what happens next meeting.
Yep,
Yeah, so it's like we don't get somebody on next month. You might wanna go ahead.
right,
Yeah.
yeah,
Without-
but we'll see. It sounds like we will have somebody, hopefully,
Yeah, and council will have already met, cause they'll meet again in 2 weeks.
right?
There was a gentleman who came over here right before the
Was it
meeting.
Gerald?
I didn't catch his name.
Because they were wondering that at council, and like if they were all here,
Mhm.
and they confirmed that you had sent out notice and that you would direct people this way just in case,
Mhm.
but there's never anyone else who came.
Okay.
So for those 3 spaces, they're holding it till the next council meeting
Mhm.
because they don't want to appoint someone until they've seen them.
Mhm.
I wonder if that was him. All right, on to old business and Mende.
Mende, Mr. Mende, has contacted the town manager on this matter, which I don't think is a bad thing. I think it adds a bit of weight to our request to move things along. I expect things will move along now that it is on the town manager's radar.
That would be nice because we're approaching 3 years, if
Yeah.
not more, with them, and that's
Yeah.
not fair.
Yeah.
They've done everything in their power, and then some.
We press now, write a letter to the town manager saying, please address this. Or is that beyond our scope?
Well, when did he contact the town manager?
It was 2 weeks ago, perhaps.
So maybe if we don't hear, if there's no movement on it by next meeting, we send a notice.
Sure.
Okay.
Any updates as to the other 3, Grassett, Pettegrew, or Potter?
Pettegrew, I got another quote for an appraisal. It was $3,000. And that is the problem I am running into with that property. The appraisals are substantially more than we had planned,
The other one was 1,500.
and that was it was 1,800 for 3 properties.
Oh, I'm thinking. Didn't we get another Pettegrew quote though?
Yes, and it was 3,700.
So maybe what we should do is find out if any of the money that we have, you know, that's set aside, that million
$2 million.
dollars, if we can use it for,
Yeah.
We can only if we end up buying the property.
Well, we can't buy the property if we
You
don't
won't
have.
have to. Well.
Yep.
But we know that we want to acquire the Pettigrew property, so.
That's true.
So it's almost, we're not doing this just as a look-see, we're doing this to.
It's part of a
Right.
process.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't get the appraisal until you know you are going to buy the property. You can't know you're going to buy the property until you have the appraisal to discuss with the owner. So,
This is what we're trying to avoid.
yeah, because the appraisal could come down and be lower than Pettigrew wants to agree to.
yep,
And then we don't have,
But then you negotiate at that point, right? I mean, if you have the appraisal.
well, but he might in the end say, no, I don't want to do this. And then where are we gonna get the money to pay for this?
Do they
appraisal?
not, we're jumping in so late here, and so I'm sorry, but is there not a way to do like a, get a signed letter of intent from the property owner saying that they intend to sell it? And then part of the due diligence is getting an appraisal, so that you at least have something legal that they've signed that say unless.
I don't know if that would work.
We
I mean,
have a-
because that's,
Yeah.
I bought a lot of real estate recently, and I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of the process always is like, I'm not gonna spend money on an appraisal if I don't have something signed with the owner
Yeah,
saying
yeah,
that, you
Intended
know,
purchase.
yeah.
yeah.
What if we just go ahead with the appraisal? Because if there's nothing, like, we haven't signed anything, and no legally binding form saying we're going to buy the property.
Right.
So what if we just do it? Do the appraisal? What's the
Ye-
recourse?
You would have to spend the money from your budget.
And we don't have the budget
Right.
for that.
Yeah.
And there's no way to spend the money from the budget. And then. Like, once we've decided to buy it, have that money. Like from the 2 million you said?
Yeah, yeah. I
Like, there's no way to have that
I'm-
like reimbursed into our budget once we've bought it, cause that then would be confirmed that we are spending. the money
yeah,
to buy the property.
that's a question for the lawyers.
Can we request this, put people on as an agenda item on the next council meeting of this problem? Maybe.
Discussion with the attorney.
I can certainly ask.
Thank you, yeah, because this is a big problem. Also because Pettigrew has personally come here to try to sell the property, so he's definitely interested.
Yes.
And you would prefer to preserve it than to develop it.
But
Right,
this is why we've lost out on the
Right.
Maple Valley Road.
Right.
right. And I know, I mean, I'm trying to remember how it was done before, Rory. Do you remember?
We used to get something called a skinny appraisal, which was the introductory appraisal, so we could proceed to go to purchase the property. So I don't know if we can figure that. That option again.
Or,
Yes, Skinny appraisal wasn't as comprehensive as the full-fledged one, but if you met all the marks of the coding of the property. We did the skinny appraisal. I wanna say that was like between 800 and 1,500 based on the property.
Okay, so so that's not, because I thought Dennis did the skinny appraisal.
No, we went and got that done, and then everything from the skinny appraisal indicated what we wanted. So then we went forward with saying we want to acquire this property, and we made a request to do the formal appraisal. I don't recall it being so circular in its logic that, or stupid, you know, that you can't.
it's a
do an
catch
appraisal
22.
Unless, yeah. I think that doesn't make sense to me.
No. Could the agenda item also maybe include like some sort of appraisal budget? If they're going to require us to do this process, then can we have a budget just for appraisals? Because our budget certainly won't cover them.
Right,
Right, it would cover more than one,
Yeah.
Right,
anything else.
yeah,
right. So, you know, then,
And that's $2 million. It's only for us.
right. So if we could use those $2 million to make appraisals, which would make sense,
Yeah.
you
That,
know, then we could proceed.
That's why I think maybe talking to a lawyer and just seeing if there's some sort of initial agreement that that's
Right.
non-binding, but enough to say that we could use the part of the 2 million for the
Right.
appraisal.
We could ask the town lawyer,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
but he's also in hot water with the manager for Mende. So is this time to ask him?
But we can ask him a general question
That's true.
and not particularly for Mende. And he
Okay.
can answer our general question.
All right. Okay.
Not gonna know what to do. Start getting all these requests from us.
I know. And we still have that letter of complaint that I wrote about all the damage on all the properties, but we haven't released it to town council because we wanted to wait to a more
Yeah.
politic time.
Right.
Could
Uh,
we add that letter as an agenda item for us for next time? The ATV complaint letter.
Sure.
Just so we remember to talk about it.
And I know we're not supposed to talk between meetings, but is there any way to get sort of just a history on outside of these, like not spend time on it in a meeting, because you guys all know it?
You can send me a list of questions.
Okay.
And then.
Okay.
I can either answer them or
That's great.
forward them on.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, that would be,
Take a while.
Turn insomnia and then go to it.
yeah.
Oh, is that from experience?
Yes.
We're learning so much about
I
it.
know, I was just gonna say that.
First the slammer.
So, and what about the Potter property? Anything with that?
So that,
That was a problem.
yeah, that one, as far as I know. We are waiting on. NRCS.
I thought you were gonna reach out to Michelle Sheehan.
Name doesn't sound familiar.
I think that was it because NRCS came back to us and went, you guys
Oh,
don't
that
actually
was
have
that
any
woman that was
agricultural
also
land.
here.
Yeah.
That, yeah.
So we were gonna try and partner with them
Yeah.
for this piece of property, but we don't have the credentials.
Apparently you have to have agricultural land to buy agricultural land. I don't know, but that's what they came back to us with. And I think her name is in the email from that.
Mhm.
I think it's
Yeah.
Michelle Sheehan.
Okay.
But they recommended we reach out to someone at the state to see about like some sort of partnership. If we want to get on the sort of like grant for property acquisition that they had mentioned when they initially came to us a few months ago, we missed the December deadline, obviously, but that's fine because we can't buy it anyways. There's another one in June, I think.
I think it's revolving, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like every
We
few
have
months.
Cultural land like the land trust.
Yes.
It's in the cranberry bog.
Yeah, no, the property they not property, the entity they partner with has to have ag land to buy ag land.
Now, Jenna,
Yes.
way back when, I was on the land trust very briefly when they started the land trust. And I got kicked off because I got a job at the library.
Sound familiar?
Yes. But
Yeah.
I thought one of our first acquisitions was going to be the farm that's right across the street from the library, right around that area. There's a property
Good morning.
that it's a very scenic spot. And they were using it as a farm for a long time. But I wasn't on the land trust
Yeah.
anymore, so I didn't pay attention, but I'm pretty sure
We have
that
it.
we have development rights for that property. We
The one
don't
right out
own
here.
Oh,
it,
it's
but we have
With
development.
the
Okay.
garden right out here too.
Yeah, but that's not land trust.
Scott. They can get
Yeah, but
close. Yeah, there's a little patch in this parking lot, that's the community garden.
Oh. That counts.
Oh, try anything, you know.
No, well, this is it's along Flat River Road. It's might
Walker
be,
Farm.
it might be, no, not Walker Farm. It was actually still being farmed.
Oh.
But we own it?
And I thought we were getting development rights, but then I got kicked off the land trust, so I don't know exactly what happened. But,
Were you on before Joyce? Joyce?
yeah, I think so. And that's why I was always surprised that Joyce was on the land trust, because I was told I couldn't be.
Huh.
So that's Walker. It's not Walker. Go to number 1. No, number 1? Yeah.
oh, I think I know what,
I know what
which
mean.
one you're talking
Yeah,
about.
they're adding to the house now,
It's a little,
further, yeah.
oh, there we go.
Maybe 6. Look at 6.
Cause there's,
We own 26.
one of the guys in our department is going on a walk with somebody from Rydem. I think this week, I think it's.
AP 6. Oh, lots 1 and 1.1.
Yeah,
It's not 26.
yeah, yeah,
It's
it's, so,
Yes,
that's the
that looks
house.
like it. Yes.
Yeah, and then the property behind it
Is
is
that's ours.
us.
so if
property
we
is that?
own development rights for a farm, we have farm property.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the town has it.
But I thought it was the land trust that got it. In other words,
It's not deeded to us right
it
now.
wasn't deeded to us.
Status as a land trust now, does that give us any edge?
That's a good question.
Right.
And if we tell them it's going to be deeded to us because it was ours to begin with,
Right.
just not in
Mhm.
name.
Makes, yeah, sense for acquisitions too.
Acquired development rights to 91 acres property in May of 2002 pursuant to a grant from DEM Forest Legacy Program. Does that sound right?
Maybe.
There was a conservation easement placed on the property 25 August 2003 held by DEM.
That actually seems a little too late, but I don't, because I'm trying to remember when it happened, but I don't know. It could be, that could be it.
So first there were development rights and then there was a conservation easement.
So, yeah.
This is all stuff that Josh has found.
So if it's our development rights and our conservation easement and it's being used as a farm, then we have farm property.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if they've been developing it as a farm, now we have a violation of the development rights. They're just possible. Yeah, we could come back to NRCS and say, actually, we were wrong. We missed 90 acres.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a farm.
Yeah.
Good, well, this one's the farm. But this area up here. That's. What,
Yeah, cause that goes back up to Reed Schoolhouse Road to the school up there, the back property there, cause isn't,
I guess if we have, we have an easement. On one. On lot one.
This is what's,
this is the next
because we're
property,
also
Audubon,
new
right
on
next
this.
to it. That's Audubon, right? Yeah, this way, okay.
Oh, well. We're gonna find.
I want fruit.
Yeah,
Well, if we could, can we make sure of that somehow? That we have a farm, that is a farm that we have. in
That's-
here?
Yeah, we have yeah, that's ours.
Yeah.
That lot is Mahoney.
Okay. So we can go back to
Yeah,
them and say we do have a farm.
yeah, that's, all right. Yeah, and see where that takes us. Cause it would be nice to have Potter.
Mhm.
I mean, I can't- They probably have,
They've already.
yeah.
That was my thoughts that they were, that they kind of said that we can't be a part of it because we don't hold ag land.
Yeah.
So,
It's gonna go on that way.
yeah,
Alright.
And if they go on without us, that's fine too.
right.
Yeah. Because part of our new strategic plan is, if we can't buy the land for some reason, we'll direct you to someone who can.
Mhm.
They- they-
Guard these.
God, you're so right.
Okay.
Alright. Oh, I don't see roads. Okay, drones, boundary, yeah, drones.
Thomas Keith's just will be on road guy, so.
Okay.
we need him.
Boundary markers,
Yeah.
Glenn has them and,
We've got a mess of them.
oh, you've got a mess of them?
Got 'em.
There's a bunch here.
Okay,
You've
so
got
they
it.
have to,
When spring comes, we'll be out doing boundary
Okay.
markers.
maybe that's something we can ask volunteers to
Yeah, for
help
sure.
us.
Mhm. Kiosks and signs are kind of the same thing.
Signs, I asked Larry to do a sign for the display case. And he said he'd be happy to, but then you have the round one.
Yeah, so
Oh.
Jenna found it.
Mhm. Yeah, I put it in tonight.
But you can do. He just wants more information about what other kind of sign we might want. So.
Okay, because I don't know whether we need one. It was just that I couldn't
Right.
find that one,
Yeah.
so.
And it's
Okay.
pretty full now.
Anyway,
Mm.
he's still willing to help and he's gonna make us some sign. He's gonna make us a town-wide 3D model of our properties.
Okay, wow, that would be wonderful.
That'd be cool.
That's very cool. So we just put a display in the library display case on the
Oh,
land
cool.
trust. And we were looking for a sign that says Coventry Land
Yeah.
Trust and we
Oh.
couldn't find one. But that's what this is about.
Alright, any more sign kiosk things?
Let us know if those things can come in
Mhm.
tomorrow.
Yep.
Mhm.
It's going across the street first, so it might not get here until Thursday.
Hopefully it doesn't get lost.
But yeah,
Right.
I also if it gets lost across the street, just in that transit.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
stranger things have happened.
Alright, as to the general trail system, we kind of talked about.
Yeah.
It with Bowdoin's really bad, I'm sure. After this winter's over, so probably after this month, we all should go out and, just, like you said,
Mhm.
alright, tree down, this down. Stella Hall did have a couple trees come down a couple months ago. I was able to move one of them. But the other one is kind of stuck and I need a chainsaw. It's
Okay.
partially on the trail, partially not.
Okay.
The biggest thing with the trail system though is the bait that was found at Groat. So Groat's one of the properties we didn't realize we have. And that's what I was asking Dylan about. So deer baiting is illegal in all of Rhode Island. And also the guy was hunting on land you're not supposed to be hunting on.
Mm-hmm.
There were no tags on the camera or tree stand, which they're supposed to be. So I hope that is getting resolved, but I've learned that a lot of our properties are listed on a hunting app as hunting. They're not.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I looked on their website. I couldn't find an easily easily found contact us
Yeah,
thing on there.
maybe it's in the app, like maybe it's designed for phone.
Yeah.
I'll have to take a look.
Yeah.
Right, but that would explain why, there are shotgun shells and
Mhm.
such, on the properties, because if people look on that and go, oh, I'm good. then that's why.
Mhm. Right.
Where's Groot?
Groat, is off the bike path, near Sullivan. It's number something.
It's AP. It's if you go up to find a parcel, it's 0317 dash 30 dash 036.
This is also the
And that's
one,
that's
Yeah.
one of them.
so we have a management plan for this one from DEM.
So we have that?
Yep.
Yeah.
That lot 36 90 excuse me 69.1 and 70.
And then if you zoom in. So,
Yeah, that is somebody's house.
The cabin house, yeah,
Yeah.
the stone house.
Yeah.
feeling. That's the bait, it's like right here,
Okay.
it's like right on the edge of this open area, in. Grout, which I believe is described in the management plan that we have for the property that details potential restoration work for. New England Cottontails. I've asked Dylan about if they want to do the restoration work because we don't have the capacity for it. He doesn't think DM has the capacity for it either. But he'll see. Right now I'm just continuing to survey for bunny poop out there and collect things in my freezer.
Does Roger Williams? Have you researched Roger Williams about doing that?
I don't know if they do habitat restoration.
Mm.
The bunnies would certainly come from there. But
Yeah.
as to like the actual funding of the tree cutting and all that.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's the interesting news I reported to the environmental police. And I'll send it on to Dylan to see if he can poke them.
Can we have copies of all these properties that somehow?
There should be a list in your packet.
Okay. Okay.
It's
Oh,
themed.
okay, all right. So these are all properties that we didn't even know we had.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there are quite a few on there that we did know we had. But there are a couple that we were not aware of.
Like that one. In the morning.
Mhm.
And Nealon's,
That work at 7.
all right. I'll move on just so we can go home. I need to contact Sundance about prescribed burns. I still haven't done that. But I'll contact them so I can get a quote as to getting a bird management plan, excuse me, and what that would look like. So we'll see. GIS mapping? Game camera.
Oh, I would like to put the camera up.
How dare you?
A coyote ran across my house the other day. I found its tracks.
Yeah, the tracks are all over the like frozen pond near us.
Yeah,
Fuck,
I'm
my
seeing a
kid.
large canine walking through my yard,
It's coyote.
so, and it's definitely not Tensies.
Teeny feet.
Yes.
I'll get it back out as soon as the weather is a little bit more bearable.
New member recruitment. We've kind of discussed this.
We've got
Sorry.
some,
Kind of
Yeah.
solved.
Yeah.
we've got
I think
two
okay.
new members, yay! And one more to be filled.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Earth Day we also inadvertently discussed. Last item is the school design contest.
So you were having the students decide what the name of the duck is?
That's what I thought, and I thought we would go to like, elementary schools, maybe middle schools. I drafted a letter that you can change any way you want to Jenna, but I thought we could do some type of gift card to the winner, and just we could celebrate it on birthday or something, have the winner there, and they'd get a plaque or something, and these caricatures of ducks I just took off the internet. This one looked closest, I thought, to our duck.
Okay.
That I couldn't find that duck. Anyway, so I thought this duck looked closest if you wanted to, and then we'd figure out what the best name of our mascot is, and then going forward, Land Trust would have a mascot. the duck.
Oh, look,
That
it's my
sounds
name.
good.
Yeah, so I know.
Second.
Yeah, right there. You betcha.
So,
If
so
you, oh, sorry.
you're gonna use this one, you think?
We can vote on it. I don't know which one looks closest to the.
I was just gonna say, if you'd like me to, I could pretty easily, because this logo, I assume, can be found somewhere online, even if it's in low res. If you'd like me to, I could pretty easily just make one of these that
would
is
be fine,
exactly
just so
the,
it's consistent with that.
the
That would be
image
absolutely fine. I
that's
just
here.
want to find something. to look
yeah, I
at.
can totally, I
Yeah.
can do that, like.
Cause I also, I wonder about the legality of using
It's
these.
public domain.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it was in public domain, so I could use it. Yeah.
Oh, perfect, okay.
Yeah,
That's why I didn't
but
want-
if we want,
That one,
it
yeah.
to be this
Consistent, it
picture,
would be
I can
lovely.
do
That's
that.
why I
Yeah,
thought one of them was closer than the other.
I can do
this
that.
one definitely
Yeah.
is.
Can I actually have a magnet?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Take a picture.
haha, you didn't take one before, and I knew you'd want one.
I know.
Have it as a PNG if you need it.
Oh, yeah, that would, yeah, that's perfect, yeah, you
Alright,
could send
good.
that
That
to
would be
me,
great.
then I
Thank
can
you.
just make a
Yep.
outline of it, yeah, for sure.
What's your,
Elsa, ELSA, M, Block, BLOCK, at Gmail.
Would need permission, obviously, from the school department, so we would have to go through like either the superintendent or whatever to see if we could. Use
Do
this, yeah.
Well-
Could be part of Earth Day for the school, an Earth Day
Mhm.
activity, and then they can come to Earth Day celebrations, I thought, so however we wanna do it.
Well, Elsa's drawing that up. Do you want to reach out to the superintendent?
Sure.
Because even if they say no, we have a really good relationship with the
The library,
library,
that's
so
what
we
I
could
figured,
always, yeah.
Yeah, the library would be good, yeah,
Yeah.
because they have kids coming in for coloring pages all the time.
Okay,
So they have coloring pages on those tables in the children's room.
we need a motion to have this letter sent? Signed by Janet, sent?
Could we also put Rory, your name on it because you're spearheading it?
well, looking through the animal, chair, okay,
Well,
yeah, no, that's fine.
chair, then Rory Carmody, past vice chair.
Alright. And I've got letterhead on one station.
So then, I'll make a motion, we're gonna go ahead and make a amendment for the letter, and print them up and distribute them. Get them signed by Jenna, and I'll distribute them.
I could talk to the superintendent first, make sure we can, on school,
Okay, and then,
and as a backup, we'll do the library.
okay, and,
Yep.
and do we need to make a motion for Elsa to make the
I think
I
so.
think so.
Okay,
All right, do I hear, not here,
Second.
okay, thank you.
Lori seconded.
All in favor of reaching out to the superintendent about the duck design?
Hi.
I,
Great. All vote, oh jeez, all voted, so voted.
All votes are voted.
I think somebody's tired.
Interesting. We go to one out.
Yes.
You know that this is unusual.
All right,
Sorry, that's largely our fault for having to get up to speed on everything.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
any issues of interest for our next agenda that we haven't already discussed?
I brought it up before.
Okay.
And then if any, like as far as things to talk about for next time, if any of the like people that I'm gonna reach out to or things I'm gonna do, like come up again, should I, like there's things to talk about there, should I like email Josh to have them added to the agenda for next time? Yes.
Yeah.
The agenda doesn't get finalized until the week, if that.
Yeah,
beforehand?
it has to be 48 hours.
Okay,
I'd like to do it earlier if possible. Cool.
Yeah. all right, and then before we adjourn, I have one question. I noticed the town council had public comment back. Does that mean we're getting public comment back?
I have not been told to put public comment back on the agenda.
Okay. Alright.
I think that the town council has always had it. And they just always do. It's just there was a particular thing with the zoning board
Okay,
that they had an issue with somebody bringing up something that may come before the board in the future.
yeah, but. Okay,
So, I mean, if we want to have public comment,
not that we almost never have it, but
Yep.
just, having it as an option,
Mhm.
if someone were to come.
Yeah.
And then for them to sit here for 3 hours and then we say, never mind.
yeah,
All right, I was just curious.
sure.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Seconded by the.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, it's at 9:41 PM, we adjourn.
Oh, my goodness.
And we.
Lynn, can you hit stop on that?
It was lovely to meet you.
On the
Lovely
other,
to meet you.
We're gonna be-